Good morning. We will call to order the November 15, 2022 meeting of the Indian River County Board of County Commissioners. At this time, it's my pleasure to invite Chaplain Lou Trough up. He's with the Sheriff's Department in Indian River Jail. Chaplain Lou will be delivering the invocation this morning. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by the County Attorney Dylan Runningold, and we will begin this meeting with a moment of silent reflection for our first responders and members of the armed forces. Would everyone please rise?
Father, your word tells us in the book of James that if any of us lacks wisdom, that we to ask you, and you will give it liberally and without reproach. And Father, our prayer today is for the men and women who make up this board. In their hearts, they plan a course, but we pray that you establish their steps. I pray that they seek your advice. Let them not make decisions based solely upon what they know, but let them act upon your wisdom. We ask that you guide them through every agenda and decision today and in the days ahead. We place this meeting in your hands. We place their hearts and their minds in your hands so that you may continue to direct them as they guide this beautiful city. And Lord, today we pray a special blessing for Commissioner Peter O'Brien and Officer Joseph Carmen for the years of dedicated service they've given to Vero Beach. We ask that you bless them as they enter this new chapter in their lives, and we thank them for all their service. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chaplain. I'd like to just make a couple quick introductions. We have with us this morning from the City of Fellsmere, we have Mayor Joel Tyson and City Manager Mark Mathis. Welcome. And from Sebastian, Vice Mayor Fred Jones is here. And we also have our Judge, Nicole Menz, is here in the audience. Good morning, Nicole. We have, I think, all 5 constitutional officers, but they'll have their moment in the glory here shortly, so I'll hold off on introducing them until then. Commissioners, any additions, deletions, changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move the very first item. I believe you're mentioned in that, item number 5A, and move that to the very last item of today's agenda.
Second.
Okay, we just moved 5A to the end of the agenda. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, move as amended.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Flesher, second by Vice Chair Ehrman. All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. We'll move on to item 5B. It's a proclamation honoring Joseph Carmen on his retirement from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. And there he is. Come on up and bring everybody you got with you.
Look who he brings up. Brings the sheriff up. Lovely bride. Daughter.
Well, good morning, guys.
I'll go ahead and read the proclamation, and Sheriff, if you or Joe want to say anything, you'll be free to do so. So this is a proclamation honoring Joseph Carmen on his retirement from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Whereas Joseph Carmen is retiring from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office effective November 13, 2022, and whereas Joseph began his career in law enforcement in 1991 and has served with distinction for over 31 years. And whereas Joseph was employed in many capacities over his lengthy career, including public safety dispatch, K-9 deputy, and background investigator, but spent the majority of his calling serving the citizens as a law enforcement deputy. And whereas over his tenure, Joseph received many acknowledgments and commendations for his efforts, including the the Honorable Service Award and Grand Cordon. And whereas Joseph worked diligently under 5 sheriffs to protect and serve the citizens of Indian River County and the state of Florida. And whereas Joseph's remarkable dedication to his profession has earned him the appreciation of Sheriff Flowers and all those who have had the honor of working with him. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the board lauds the contributions Joseph Carman has made to the citizens of Indian River County during his highly successful law enforcement career and wishes him a happy and prosperous retirement. Adopted this 15th day of November 2022, signed and endorsed by all 5 county commissioners. Sir, thank you for your 31 years of service. Appreciate it.
I just want to thank you guys for taking time to do this. I know this is something that we started when I became sheriff, and I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your meeting to recognize our employees, especially folks like Joe who have spent so much time with us. And I get to give him his gifts here because I haven't seen him. He retired on a Sunday, and so I'm excited about this. This is my favorite part of it. Joe, I'm excited to tell you today that you are you're being promoted to sergeant as part of your retirement. So congratulations. Yep, absolutely. Additionally, we have your watch and your pen and your book in here for you, so you can take those with you. You have a lot of things to do. But the great part about Joe is that he said, I know I'm retiring after 31 years, but I'm not done yet. And so he's going to stay on as a reserve with us. He's working on a special projects about school safety that we've had him on for some time. Joe has been an asset to the agency with his dispatch knowledge and just so many things that he's done over the years. And so we're excited to keep him on and to continue helping us in so many ways. So Joe, thank you for that. Thank you for staying with us. We certainly appreciate it. And it's great when 31 years of knowledge doesn't just walk away from us. So thank you, Joe. And thank you, commissioners. I'll turn it over to you. Yep. No?
I'll just say thank you to Indian River County citizens. It's been a pleasure serving this community, and it's been a pleasure and ease to serve this community. And thank you all for everything that you all done.
Joe, introduce your support team there.
This is my daughter, Gabriella, and my wonderful wife, Beth.
Very good. All right. Well, Joe, come on up. We'll get a picture. Thank you for all your service. You bet. Thank you.
Thank you for 31 years. Thank you. Hey, Sheriff, great to see you.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want the wife and the daughter?
There's 2 people out of the picture.
Yeah, they try to just run out the
Trying
door.
to sneak out. Can't let him go that easily.
And you're going to be very much in their picture now.
Congratulations.
Well, yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Flesher.
I'd just like to say to Joe, because I know that he appreciated the prompt promotion by the sheriff, but I'll tell you what, one thing I know about Joe, and I've worked with Joe for many years, he loves being a cop. He loves being a detective. So I don't know how it's going to wear so well for him to be a sergeant at this time, because, you know, he's the real deal. And Joe, I just want to say thank you in the middle of the night to make sure that we got home safe, that the people were safe. You really care about this community, and I'm really excited that you're going to continue on and work volunteering with the sheriff's office, because your skills, abilities, talents, and dedication are what we need in Indian River County, and I'm honored that you have stepped up to the plate, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Joe, I'm not done. We're not done yet.
Yeah, what,
I've known you for all of your 31 years, because when you started at the Sheriff's Department, obviously I was at the Fire Department, and we worked many scenes together and had, long scenes. We'd have a chance to talk and catch up. And what I always admired about you, what I always admire in anybody that loves what they do, and you always cared about your department, not only your county and the citizens you protected, but you always put the Sheriff's Department first. And that was always very comforting to me to know that somebody cared like you did. You always did a great job. It was always fun to work with you, and I wish you the best. You done good.
Okay, Joe, I think you're free now.
Gotta get to work.
Okay, Commissioners, there's no minutes to approve, so we move on to informational items. Any discussion on the informational items? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull a consent agenda item for additional discussion? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to have a consent agenda item pulled for additional discussion? Okay, seeing none,
Mr. Chair, move approval.
we have a motion by Commissioner Flesher. I'll second it myself. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Moving on to our constitutional officers. We will begin with the Indian River County Tax Collector Annual Report, Ms. Carol Jean Jordan. Good morning and welcome.
I'm going to go along this today. I'm sorry, but I have an awful lot of thank yous, a multitude of them, starting out with the chairman. We've been on a long road together. We're going to miss you.
Thank you, Carol.
But thank you for your many years of service, for not seeing the grandchildren as often as you and your wife would like, but working for our county and just doing a magnificent job. And we just thank you so much for everything you've done over in our office or any other place in our county. Just thank you for being you, Peter.
Thank you, Carol Jean. Appreciate that.
And I don't get the podium but once a year unless something crazy is going on, so hopefully it won't. But I want to take this time to say thank you to Jason. It's an interesting relationship that we have with the county administrator, and sometimes it's just crisis management. Sometimes it's just a heads up, but it's just been a joy to work with you, and I thank you so much for, again, what you do for this county as well as for all the citizens and just everything. You've been a great administrator. We're going to miss you.
Thank you, Carol Jean. It's been great to work with you, too. Thanks.
And thirdly, I have to, and I do this, I know I do it every year, but I can't say enough. I have to say thank you to Rich Spierka. I cannot tell you how many times we annoy him and aggravate him and call him because everything that we do revolves around his work, and he's always there. He's been just held our hand through the renovation that we're going through right now. It's been a challenge, but because he said, whatever the county can do to help. As you know, we've moved out of the main office. We have people back in your conference room, over in conference room B. No windows, but bless their heart, they've been amazing too to continue to wait on the customers. But when we come against the wall, Adria calls or texts Rich. So thank you. We could not do this without him. And I also made a special note. I have to say thank you to HR and purchasing, because I know they've given up their conference room over these many months and had things scheduled that had to be rescheduled. So we really appreciate their support on allowing this to happen. And hopefully we're going to get through in a few more weeks. Improvements, and I have a list of them, and I just wanted to go over them with you because, it's taxpayer dollars. It's coordination with everybody to get these things done. But we installed a new customer service, I call it the customer service system. It's a queuing system to aid operations. We did that in the early part of the spring. I think it's working out very well with helping us make appointments where people can make them at home on their computers and follow up with, if they give us their correct information, we can even text them in their cars and say, hey, your appointment's coming up, come on in. So it's a valuable tool, much like I think some of the medical facilities are using now, but we feel it's been a real success and are looking forward to the main office implementing it on the grand scale. We have new dealer locker pickup and delivery systems. I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's now down in your lobby over in Building B, and it's just been a real asset where the dealers used to have to come in. We literally kept it in a file folder and pick their things up, or had a question. This way it electronically notifies them that it's ready. They bring us the work first. It notifies us that their work is in a locker. And this is much like the system at your box stores, except it's interactive in that they drop off their dealer work for us, and then it notifies our dealer staff that there's something waiting, one of the dealerships, and then when we complete their work, or maybe there's a check missing or there's a document missing, we can text them and tell them that. They can drop that back off, and then they can come pick up the work when we send them a text and say it's complete and it's out in your locker now. So it's huge, and it helps keep people out of the main office, which is always a goal because we're always busy. We implemented a new learning management system to track employee training and to create in-house training modules for new hires. It's a huge benefit because, again, time is always of the essence, and we want to give as much knowledge as we can to our clerks. We eliminated physical fax machines. They're kind of gone their way, and we've switched to eFax software that has the ability to upload information directly onto Orion, which is one of our systems. We've implemented Grant Street Electronic Insurance Module, which allows you to renew your registration online when insurance is required, because sometimes you change companies or there's been some sort of change. Then you can submit that, and it's electronically signed form to our irctax.com. So that's, again, a huge time saver and can keep someone from having to come in the office, especially people that are working. They're busy. They don't have time to run over and take care of that. We've increased our starting pay to $15 an hour for customer service representatives. That's been a long-time goal, and I so appreciate Brad Newman for helping us make that happen when he works his magical numbers. We started collecting the 2021 tax roll early. It began on the 26th of October, so it has allowed us to send money to some of the taxing districts that would like to have it a little bit early. We've been able to do that, and frankly, the customers call almost all of October. Where's my tax bill? I haven't gotten my tax bill there. We live in a wonderful county. They're so anxious to pay their bills and get that taken care of. So we all have to really appreciate that people really care about getting that bill paid. The beach office renovation, we added 2 additional customer service stations, and I can tell you that is just the busiest place. And I know it's tiny. I call it the boutique office, but people really, really appreciate having that over there. And I'd like to add, Mayor Tyson, I've mentioned it to both you and your administrator that we would love to have something in the future in Fellsmere, because it is one of the fastest growing communities in our county. So at some point we're going to have a little office out there. Don't know what yet, but hopefully they'll give us some space. Maybe. We can only ask. Main office renovation, of course, to enclose the covered patio and adding 7 new stations. That's nearing completion. We have fillable forms for people that want custom specialty plates. That may sound like a small thing, but we do that for many of the non-for-profit groups, the specialty tags. We help them get their vouchers, which is $3,000, a lot of data processing. We're a small enough county that we can do that. I don't know of any other that does it on a basis like we do, and therefore we get a lot of specialty plate requests. We've also added a specialty plate website purchase portal to irctax.com. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in improvements. I have to say thank you to staff. They've really been amazing, and they don't get enough thanks from me. But I'd like to just say a special thank you to Jordan Abbey, who heads up our tax department. He's I think in his second year of singly handling the tax roll, from the time that we get it from Wesley to sending it out to the customers to bringing the money back into the offices. It's huge. It's such a, I know they don't get much sleep when the tax rolls are going out, but I appreciate all his good work. And then I have to switch to Brad Newman. And I never introduce Brad without saying, of course, who he is. You know, that's Gary Wheeler's grandson. And we are so blessed to have him directing our finance department, because he watches every single penny and makes sure they're all going to the right places. So thank you, Brad. Adder is, Dan says no thank you to Adder, but we just love him because he's the idea guy. He's the one that came up with the lockers. He comes up with all these things, and then I have to switch over. He's also head of motorist services. I have to switch over then to, he's not with us. Where's Dan? Dan's not with, anyway, Dan's probably busy putting wires up in the ceiling. He's our director of IT, and I have to, he just looks at Adder and says, oh my goodness, what have you come up with now? No, we can't do it, but we'll get it done anyway. And he's, as Rich well knows, Dan is just an amazing guy that keeps our IT, our offices safe. I mean, it's just that simple. We have been blessed with not having any worms or creatures and all those kind of things come into our systems, because we come from Tallahassee with ag and all the different departments that we work with. So it's a huge undertaking, and we so appreciate Dan, even though he's not here. And Danny McCormick has taken over. He's doing our operations on all of our inventory. So down to the very last license plate, if we don't have it accounted for, we have to pay for it. So that is a huge undertaking. It takes weeks to finalize. He's also taking on the analysis of our queuing systems, and we'll be looking at the different things and how everything's working just on a clerk-to-clerk basis on again, an Adder idea on all the services that we have. He'll be watching and seeing how those work and what we can do to improve it. Ryan heads up our communications. There he is. Social media, I mean, bless his heart, we're open, we're closed, it's a storm, it's a this, along with all the regular social media, what's going on and what's happening in our departments. So just a huge job, as well as outreach into the community. We just finished the less than dry clam bake. If you all were there, it was kind of off and on. And I'll put in our hopes that it moves back under the trees, because that was a much better environment for us. And a little bit warm out there on the riverside, but it's lovely, beautiful view. And last but not least, I have to say, Adria is the do everything. I don't know what I would do without her. If we were related, I'd say she's a mini-me, and just thank you for all you do. And everybody knows what you do. I don't even have to go into all of it. Our transaction count this year is over 500,000 transactions, and we're actually tracking those a little closer. I think we're going to get, I think that's an undercount, if you will, and that's hard to believe, but 500,000 transactions with 65 employees is just an amazing feat, and the more we can do online, the better. That includes 3,000 additional DMV transactions, 2,000 additional TSA. TSA's only done at the West Office under their rules totally. They're now allowing us to take walk-ins, which they didn't allow, but the walk-ins don't have the same quick scheduling promise that the appointments do. And we've gotten great response out of the TSA being out there. And that is the only office they will let us have. We would, I think, much like Jeff Smith and passports, where they wouldn't let you have them on the beach, which we so wished that we could have the passport program over there, but we couldn't. That's resulted in a return of $2,221,170 to you all, our taxing districts. That's $434,000 over our initial projections. So we're really, really proud of that. I mean, again, it's due to all of them. And I have to say, in my time in office, we're looking at, we've returned about 39 million. Is that right, Jason? Give or take a penny or two back to the county.
Brings a tear to my eye every time.
Well, we have to brag on it a little bit, but I just say thank you to you all because you do make it happen. You know, I know we don't come over here and work with you on a daily basis, but we certainly do in every other aspect. And just thank you to the citizens of Indian River County for what they do, for their patience, and for this amazing county we live in. But thank you.
You know, Carol Jean, it'd be a really neat retirement gift if you made that check payable to me. Just kind of throwing that out there. But thank you for all you do. And I tell you, the TSA thing, my wife Susan and I got it, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And that is a blessing, when you, particularly if you go through Orlando and stuff. So great job, you and your staff, and all that you're doing. But that's just, you know, more service to the community. And those things, you know, really help us when we're trying to travel and stuff. So thank you for that. Great job.
And just, and for the public, they just need to go on ADEMIA's website. And we can't make the appointments, but they can go on our website and get the information. But yes, I think it's a great program. I wish we could do global, but they only do that down in Fort Pierce.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you. Did you want to make a presentation?
We need staff up here. Come on, y'all. I'm going to totally embarrass them this time. I'll let them slip by.
Ryan's not in the picture.
We're okay with that.
Awesome.
Miss you too.
Thank you, Carol Jean.
You know it's erasable.
Quick, change it.
That mean the number's gonna be higher next year?
Why don't a couple of you get, or Carol Jean get in the middle, a couple of you, there we go. That's looking good.
Great. Awesome.
All right, thank you, Carol Jean.
Stepping over them, I didn't step on them yet. Oh, I don't wanna ruin them. Give them a crack plaque.
Would you two behave yourselves?
All right, we've settled down now. We got a little something going on over here. Just-
Next, we have the Indian River County Property Appraiser Annual Report. Oh, do we need a motion to accept it? Okay. Is there a motion to accept?
Chairman, make motion to accept the tax collector's return.
Mr. Adams gave it first. I'll give you the second, though.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Adams, second by Flesher. All in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Good morning and welcome, Mr. Wesley Davis.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and I'm looking forward to the little at the end of this meeting, or however we're going to do this, to give us a parting shot. I mean, some going away words, and also to County Administrator. I'll be back over here before the end of the year, I promise you. But it's been a pleasure. Just Commissioners, I'm pleased to announce that this year we gave back $205,748.50. And in the process of this refund, I need to kind of brag about some of the things that we're doing over there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it boils down to having a tax roll that is on time, that is accurate, and one that's under budget. And I could not do that without the team that I have over there. And I'm proud to say, and all of you will appreciate this, we have 39 employees, 39 positions. And that is the exact same number that we've had since 2010, when I was sitting there as a commissioner, and we looked every constitutional in the eye and said, cut your budgets by 30% because we know what's coming. As you know, parcel counts increased, and again, we're still able to do it, and we're able to do it not just because, in addition to the team, but also embracing technology. I've got a philosophy over there of touch it only once. Don't shuffle papers around more than once. Let's embrace technology. Let's do it one time. Do it in the field with the laptops. Do it in the field with the iPads, to where you don't have to come back and sit behind the desk and enter that information in and redo it. We've embraced technology as far as cybersecurity. We have the dual authentication on every email. When you get ready to log on in the mornings, you get a notification. and you have to accept that notification in order to log on and be able to access anything in our software. I'm pleased to say that we're also worked very close with the clerk of the circuit court to initiate some software called Just Appraised. It's basically, it's artificial intelligence that actually will do the reading and self-populate the fields where it transfers from the deed to the property record information on our website. And right now we have a full-time person that does that full-time, and it takes them a lot of time to do that. And we're hoping to get it down to where that task can be done in an hour. And we've have learned some of that technology from other municipalities and property appraisers in other counties. So, again, $205,748.50 being returned, and we're very proud of that. In my short 4 years, I can't believe it's been 4 years already, but still, 4 years, that makes a total of $724,200. So thank you.
Thank you, Wesley. Is there a motion to accept the annual report?
Motion to accept.
We have a motion from Commissioner Adams, second by Vice Chair Ehrman. All in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Next is the Indian River County Sheriff Annual Report. Good morning, Sheriff Flowers.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you, Sheriff?
Good to see you guys again. I know Carol Jean came up with the big check, and looking at our numbers, I considered having Amy making a little tiny check to bring back to you guys, but I said, that's not really a great idea. We are giving you a little bit of money back, about $4,000 in one account and about $150 in another account. We did meet with the county commissioner in advance, and knowing that our budget wasn't where it was, of course, you guys did a great job helping us this year get to where we need to be in our staffing levels. So we are returning $470,000, asking for that back for some outstanding purchases that we still have from last year with COVID and delays in shipping, things like that. We still have that money earmarked to be spent. So we'll be asking for that to come back to us. And over the past year, we've accomplished a lot. You know, we put in body cameras. We've got the license plate reader technology. We've done so many good things. And so the tax dollars that folks have entrusted us with are going to good use every single day. We're impressed by all of the technology and how we're able to leverage it to make our community safer every single day. The stories are endless of how many times we've saved lives and helped people out there in the community, and it's because of our supporters, people in the community who recognize the value of law enforcement and public safety, and knowing that it's an important component of keeping Indian River safe and getting people to continue to move here and for our community to grow. So with that, I'll take any questions that you might have, and thank you guys for your help and support with our budget and finances.
Very good. Any questions of the sheriff? Sheriff, you're asking to move $470,916 to cover some of your outstanding purchase orders, and then $112,141 to cover items that have already been approved, and then the remaining $3697 will go into the county's Fund 112. Is that correct?
Correct. The idea is that we still have that money in our account. All that money is earmarked for purchases that we knew. We're just waiting on things that we couldn't get because of COVID delays and whatnot. So we're going to return that to you, ask for it right back so we can put it back into our account to be able to fund
And
it.
then Jason or Dylan, from a procedural point, we'll handle those items as a budget amendment going forward, or do we vote now to accept them?
I would think that we would accept and then approve, and then that would give staff direction to move forward with the budget amendment and the other issues. But Jason.
Yeah, if you would approve the rollover of the funds, then we'll bring a budget amendment back
Okay.
based on that approval.
All right, so commissioners,
Move approval. Second.
we have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Moss to approve the reversions as requested by the sheriff. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Thank you, Sheriff.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Coming off another successful election is our Indian River County Supervisor of Elections. Good morning, Ms. Swan. Welcome.
Morning, Chairman O'Brien. It's sad to see this is your last meeting. We're going to definitely miss you.
Thank
And
you.
I want to thank Jason as well. Every time we ask for something, you're always willing to provide it in an expedited manner. So I want to begin by thanking all of you for your support during the past fiscal year. as we continue to be under a microscope with elections. During this past budget year, it was not only a gubernatorial election cycle, but it was also a redistricting year. Our staff spent countless hours redrawing precinct boundary lines, renumbering our precincts, and utilizing 3 new polling places. We mailed out over 118,000 new voter information cards with all of this updated information. During the November 8th election, we mailed out over 45,000 vote-by-mail ballots. And it was a first in Indian River County. I've never had it where everyone voted using a 1-card ballot except the city of Vero Beach, who had a 2-card ballot. So that was a fun and interesting twist to this election. And 19 days into the primary election, our office began receiving petitions for verification for a citizens' initiative referendum for the city of Vero Beach Marina. My staff hustled to verify those petitions, but as you know, no good deed goes unpunished. I was named as a defendant in a lawsuit over the referendum, but I have to thank Dylan Reingold, our county attorney. He is always willing to jump in and help when we need it, and everything turned out just fine. And so I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to Commissioner Ehrman and Commissioner Adams. We had our canvassing board member and our alternate, and both of them showed up to help us at many of the meetings, as well as both of our county court judges. And I've never seen anything like that before. So Judge Menz and Judge Stone were there to help us, because it's really interesting. People now decide to hold their vote-by-mail ballot and deliver it to our office on the day of the election. So we probably had almost 1,000 that we had to process that came in that day. We had to verify the signatures, we had to open the ballots, we had to tabulate them, and we couldn't have done it without the extra set of hands that we had with all of our canvassing board members. So I just feel very blessed. I have the most amazing staff, the most amazing election workers, and they allow us to get the job done. So I want to thank you all for your support always of the Supervisor of Elections office. So we work lean and mean, so I'm returning $9,647. So I want to thank you all again.
Well, Leslie, I say it every year, but I can't tell you how proud we are of our elections office and the job you and your staff do. Like I've said before, when we go to different conferences and talk to other commissioners and the fiascos that they've experienced, and I can say, well, our election went smooth. We've got a great staff and supervisor. So thank you again for the job you and all of your folks do there. You guys are really superstars.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, commissioners.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve and accept.
No, you go ahead. We have a motion by Commissioner Flesher, second by Vice Chair Ehrman. All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Thank you, Leslie. And last but certainly not least is our Clerk of Court and Comptroller, Mr. Jeff Smith. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Chairman, and I'm pleased and honored that I've been able to call you that, and I'm sad that this is going to be the last meeting that I'm going to be able to call you that. We will certainly definitely miss you as a commissioner. You've been a commissioner as long as I've been clerk, and probably longer, so I've had a good working relationship with you and the board, and I'm going to hope that that continues in the future, and we were definitely going to miss you. I would say the same thing to the county administrator, but he's coming to work for me, so I'm not going to miss him very much, but I will miss the relationship that we have with the county administrator's office and the staff, and I'm hoping that his replacement in the future, that we'll have the same kind of working relationship that we've had all along. And I can tell you, I say that every year, that's not the way it is around the state, and it's precious that we have it here, and I commend you for what you all have done, and I admonish you that you find that person, that right person, when you're looking and vetting out a candidate, that we can work together and keep the working relationship what it has been. I'm pleased to announce that we're going to return $416,152.68 this year which is 59,000 more than last year. And combined with the 3 previous years, that gets us over 1.2 million, which I'm sure that any 4-year time period in the clerk's returns, that's probably a record. So I'm pleased, and we couldn't have done that without my staff. I've got Alyssa Nagy, my finance director, and Rayanne Cohn, my assistant finance director, and that's the board staff, Shauna James, Randy Wardlow, and Jackie, and then all the staff back in the comptroller's office and over in the clerks in the courthouse. Like Wesley said, we've got less staff than we did in both areas than in 2004 when the state took over the court system. So we're doing a lot more cases and a lot more transactions on the comptroller side with a lot less staff, and that's what enables this return. So I thank you, and I'm open for any questions.
So, Jeff, you know, it's probably 10, 12 years ago that you stole my administrative assistant, Terry Collins Lister there. So I had to tell Jeff he was on my poop list at the time. And then a couple of weeks ago when he stole Jason, I told him he was on my double poop list. So, but it's always glad to see folks make the advancement and move up. So I've always been pleased when Jeff comes knocking to take somebody from me because I think it's good for them. So anyway, commissioners, your pleasure.
Chairman, move approval.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Fletcher, second by Vice Chair Ehrman. All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Jeff, you want to get a picture with that check?
Big check.
Why don't you have your staff come on up? Does that one have my name on it? I thought about it. Yeah, I think one of these would. Thank you, Jeff. And we have Mr. Smith again for an announcement about an award. Jeff, good morning again.
Thank you, Commissioner and Chairman. I'm doubly pleased that we, as Indian River County, have been given the GFOA Triple Crown Award. And that means we've got the award for the PAFR that I create every year that you use for a lot of your citizen meetings, for our ACFR, which is the county's compiled financial statements, and also for the budget book that the budget office does every year. So the GFOA gives out awards for all 3 of those. We're one of very few jurisdictions that have received the Triple Crown Award, which we get the award for all 3. So I'm pleased to announce that today to the board that we've received that.
Well, congratulations, Jeff, and to you.
And to Kristen Daniels, because she does the budget book.
Yep. To the budget staff as well. Well, that's great news. Thank you, Jeff. That concludes the constitutional officers. We move to our first public hearing, miscellaneous budget amendment number 10. This is administrative in nature, and Mr. Brown will be presenting this.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to do my best to impersonate a budget person today. We've got miscellaneous budget amendment number 10 before you. This is a public hearing because in accordance with Florida statutes, whenever you're funding expenses with cash balance, you must conduct a public hearing. This has been advertised in accordance with the requirements. We have the budget amendment before you. Staff recommends that you open the public hearing, consider any comments and any changes necessary, and then approve the budget resolution amending the 21-22 budget.
Thank you, Jason. Commissioners, any questions of Jason? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment on the budget amendment before us? Seeing none and having provided ample opportunity, I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to move approval.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Adams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Moss. All in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? That motion passes 5-0. Our second public hearing. Yep. The next item on the agenda is a request by Coulter Group Acquisitions, LLC, for conceptual plan development, PD plan, and special exemption approval for a project to be known as Red Tree Cove, PD, on 78.13 acres located at the southeast corner of 13th Street Southwest and 43rd Avenue Southwest. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding. The parties to the proceeding are Indian River County and the Coulter Group Acquisitions, who are the applicants. At this time, I'm going to ask the commissioners to disclose any ex parte communications, site visits, or independent investigations. I'll start to my right here with Commissioner Fleischer.
None that I'm aware of, sir.
Thank you.
None that I'm aware of also.
I probably drive by this site almost daily, but I have no specific site visits or any ex parte communications or anything like that. Commissioner Adams.
None that I'm aware of.
Thank you. And Commissioner Moss.
None that I'm aware of.
Thank you. And then I'm going to ask each commissioner to confirm that they have an open mind and are able to base their decision on the evidence presented and applicable law. And I'll start with Commissioner Moss.
Yes, can and will.
Thank you.
Can and will.
And I can and will.
Can and will.
I can and will.
Very good. At this point, I will open the public hearing, and I'll ask the clerk to swear in all the witnesses. So if you're going to speak or even think you might speak to this item, would you please stand and be sworn in? And then we'll move on. The first will be a presentation by county staff, and Mr. Ryan Sweeney will kick it off. Good morning, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, Ryan Sweeney, Chief of Current Development with the County and Community Development Department. Today we have, there we go, thanks. A request for conceptual special exception PD plan and concurrent preliminary PD plan plat approval for Red Tree Cove plan development. A brief slide about the plan development process. The first step is the conceptual PD plan, which requires a public hearing and ultimately a Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation, and then the final public hearing and approval or denial at Board of County Commission level. The second step is the preliminary PD plan plat, which this applicant is requesting concurrently, and the Planning and Zoning Commission did already approve, subject to the board approving the conceptual PD plan. The third step is the land development permit or land development permit waiver by staff. And then the final step is the final PD plan plat back by the Board of County Commissioners. The project site is located on the west side of 43rd Avenue Southwest, south of 13th Street Southwest, and north of 17th Street Southwest, and is zoned A1, but primarily has a L1 underlying land use, with the small exception of a 4.82 acre site that is outside the urban service area, has an AG1 land use designation. From this point forward, everything will now be oriented to the right, just fits the screen better. So just remember now north is to the right, so you'll have 13th Street Southwest with my cursor here, 43rd Avenue at the bottom of the screen, and 17th Street Southwest. And this is an aerial of the project site with the project overlaid on top of the aerial. So a brief summary, the project site is 78.13 net acres after right-of-way dedications, and that does include the 4.82 acres that's outside the urban service area. The project proposes a total of 175 single-family units at 2.39 units per acre. That density is actually based on the net, if you will. That's 78.13 minus the 4.82, so that's the most conservative way of calculating density, just to be clear. The project is proposed to be in two phases. Phase one is the north half of the project site and proposes a total of 81 units. And then phase two is roughly the south half of the project site with 94 units. Through the plan development process, the project is requesting waivers, which includes increases or reductions in minimum lot size, minimum lot width, minimum building setbacks and maximum building coverage. In order to offset those requested waivers, the project proposes public benefits including significant right-of-way dedications, other off-site improvements, increased project open space, larger perimeter setbacks, increased perimeter buffers, and other public benefits, which we'll discuss. So here's a general layout of the conceptual PD plan, and if you look closely, there is the phase line that kind of meanders through roughly the middle of the site. The conceptual stormwater plan proposes a total of 4 wet stormwater ponds, one of which is in that portion that's outside of the urban service area. There's no residential development, there's no density being yielded from the portion that's outside the urban service area. It's just a stormwater pond. There's a lot of traffic improvements, so I'll run through them. It starts with the 2 driveway connections, a gated full access connection to 13th Street Southwest, which is currently already paved. But that project entrance will be served by a new westbound left turn lane on 13th Street Southwest. There will also be northbound and southbound right and left turn lanes on 43rd Avenue Southwest at the connection to 13th Street Southwest intersection, and a new eastbound right turn lane on 13th Street Southwest as well. At the south half of the project, you have the driveway connection to 17th Street Southwest and a new eastbound right turn lane at that intersection. The applicant has also agreed through the PD and public benefit process to extend the paving of the 17th Street Southwest along the project's entire frontage as opposed to just the driveway connection. The landscape and environmental plan includes a 30-foot Type B buffer along the north, east, and south property lines, so that's 13th Street Southwest, 43rd Avenue, and 17th Street Southwest respectively, and a 60-foot wide Type B buffer with 6-foot opaque feature along the west property, which does abut the urban service area. And those are increased buffers. They would be 25 and 50 respectively, so they are increased. The project's dedications, improvements, and conditions include, again, significant right-of-way dedications for all 3 road frontages, 13th Street Southwest, 17th Street Southwest, and 43rd Avenue. All the off-site traffic improvements we just ran through, including also a contribution to the future 17th Street Southwest bridge crossing, which we'll discuss a little bit more in the public benefits section. External sidewalks along 43rd Avenue and 17th Street Southwest, the 13th Street Southwest sidewalk already exists. Internal sidewalks throughout the project, street lighting throughout the project, and the common green space and recreation area requirement. And also, again, through the PD process, this project was not originally part of the South County Initiative, but it is in the area. It's immediately abutting and adjacent to other South County Initiative projects. So again, through design and negotiations with the developer, staff did, 1, make sure it met the South County Initiative design criteria, and 2, negotiated that they partake in the 17th Street Southwest Bridge Crossing project, which is a South County Initiative item. The school site and the neighborhood commercial sites that were part of the South County Initiative already exist, so they didn't have any more land to give in that regard. The project's PD waivers, or through the PD process, is requesting reduced lot widths and reduced lot areas, reduced lot setbacks, a very slight increase in maximum building coverage, but minimum lot open space will remain the same. The public benefits, again, significant right-of-way dedications over and above what the minimum is required, and that's at no cost to the county, so those will all be straight donations. The 17th Street Southwest paving beyond the project entrance, which exceeds the minimum requirement. The 13th Street Southwest eastbound right turn lane is not required by the traffic study, but will be a significant benefit to anyone that's on 13th Street Southwest, because you can get stuck behind folks that are trying to make a left on the 43rd, much like they go into Publix. So folks that are going south can now utilize that right turn lane. Through coordination with the utilities department, the developer has decided or has agreed to increase the utility lines, both water and sewer lines, running down 43rd Avenue to better serve development projects further to the south. And again, that's at no cost to the county, so that will be completely covered by the developer. And the contribution to the future 17th Street Southwest Bridge crossing. At its meeting of October 13, 2022, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-1 to recommend that the BCC grant conceptual PD plan and special exception approval with conditions recommended by staff, and also approved the concurrent preliminary PD plan again, subject to the board approving the conceptual PD. And staff's recommendation is that the board grant conceptual PD plan and special exception approval for Red Tree Cove PD with conditions listed in staff's report, including right-of-way dedications, contribution to the future 17th Street Southwest Bridge crossing, all of the off-site traffic improvements and paving, final landscape and buffer plans, and street lighting and sidewalk plans as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions of staff?
I do.
Commissioner Moss?
Go ahead. No.
Okay. Yeah, I was seeking to understand this better, so of course I read the minutes, which were attached. But in addition to that, I watched most of the video of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And first of all, I want to thank the Planning and Zoning Commission. I mean, they do a great job. And I'll thank Mr. Mattson as well. One of the things that came up during that meeting was a very serious concern about traffic in that area, and especially, 43rd Avenue, as you know. And special thank you to Mr. Mattson, because frankly, I was inspired by the community, because there was a gentleman there who is expressing his concern about traffic, and he was being told, well, this isn't the place. Go to Public Works, go to MPO, go to the sheriff. And I'm thinking, that is the place. I mean, this is where the project begins. This is where it starts, with the Planning and Zoning Commission. I mean, publicly. This is the public start of it. And if he showed up, 6 months later at MPO, it's done. It's too late. And that's the point. We want to encourage participation by the community. So thank you to Mr. Mattson for assuring him that it was the right place and it was a legitimate concern. And several of the commission members also expressed the same concern about traffic. I share that concern. This is very tight, this development. I did request the traffic study, and I think in the future, I know I'm not suggesting we apply this today, of course, but in the future, I think we look at only half the story. We look at the number of houses, the number of residences we're putting in, but we're not looking at the traffic. And the traffic study for this indicated that there would be almost 1,800 daily trips generated by the number of homes. I think it was 1,740 or 1,790 daily trips. So that's something, like I said, half the story. I think we need to look at the number of houses for the future, and also what kind of traffic are we generating, and perhaps keep some kind of tab on that. Like each time we vote on something, how much more traffic are we adding? We all know we have a problem. Anybody who hasn't sat in a turning lane and had to wait for the light change several times, as came up during that meeting, that happens a lot of places. So we do need to be aware of that. My appointee was the one who voted against this at the commission meeting. I think he raised a number of valid points. And that had to do with what was being requested in terms of, I'll call it the tightness of the development, and you can address it in technical terms. But I think his concerns were legitimate. I do think, however, that thank you for negotiating the right-of-way benefit. I think that hopefully will be a big benefit in the future. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Ehrman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, traffic's always a concern for me. So one of the questions I have, the entrances to get to the subdivision are not on 43rd, they're on 17th and 13th Street Southwest. What is explain to me the bridge crossing thing.
Right, so there will be eventually 17th Street, which goes about halfway between 27th Ave and 43rd Avenue. It dead ends right now because Millstone built that portion. Eventually, if either Echo Lake, which is on the south side of 17th Street Southwest, or Turtle Creek to the north, if either one of them develop, they will have to punch 17th Street through all the way to 43rd, and that will require a pretty costly bridge crossing over that canal. So this project would, in theory, send a small percentage, but some trips east on 17th Street Southwest to go back to 27th Ave. And through our process and through the South County Initiative negotiation, they agreed to contribute to that bridge crossing to kind of complete that initiative. The key of the initiative is to preserve our grid, so to have 13th Street Southwest, 17th Street Southwest, and even 21st Street Southwest punched through to 43rd, so people have options.
That's it.
Okay. Any other commissioners? Just kind of to follow up on Commissioner Moss's comments, I just would say that, through the MPO, we do our 20-year long-range transportation plan to try to foresee where traffic needs will be. We look at the land uses in the area, and we calculate how many more homes might be developed, what the current capacity of our roads is. We're constantly looking at the concurrency. And, you know, roads take a while to build, there's no doubt about that, but I think through the MPO and our engineering and traffic staff and our community development, that we do look at growth and where it's happening. We try to, you know, we don't have a crystal ball here, so we just have to make our best estimates of where we think the next development's going to come in and when, and that's always a tricky thing, because as we see here recently, you know, things got hot a couple of years ago, there's a lot of action, and now there's talk about a recession and slowing down, so it's never easy to really project these things, but I think we do a good job of trying to plan where we think growth will be, have our long-range transportation plan, and try to take these things into account. I understand. I think traffic's gotten heavier since I've moved here in '84. Certainly, I think a lot of people that have just moved here from the upper Northeast or from South Florida say, well, what traffic problem? Because they're used to gridlock. So it's kind of a, you know, who's looking at it, that you could say, yeah, the traffic's really bad, or a lot of people might say, no, this is great. You know, it's not gridlock. So, but I think we do a good job of trying to look forward, trying to anticipate. And when we do have a project like this, I understand that the people that moved in, you know, a year ago, they're probably not counting how many trips they put on the road. So when they say, hey, we're worried about, you know, all this traffic, well, you know, your subdivision just came in 2 years ago, and you're providing traffic. So I think we have to make sure we treat property rights fairly, and, you know, and we do a good job of getting the right-of-way we need, the turn lane improvements, things like that, to try to keep things flowing. So I just think staff, you've done a good job on putting these together, and appreciate that. So that concludes the county staff presentation. We move on to, does the applicant wish to make any comments or a presentation? Good morning. If you give your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Good morning, Jim Fitter with BGE. We're the civil engineers for the project, 601 21st Street, Vero Beach 32960. We have a team of consultants here specifically for traffic as well. Commissioner Moss, if you have specific questions, happy to answer any other questions the commission might have.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you, Jim. At this point, we'll take input from the public. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on the public hearing that we have open now? Anyone from the public? Okay, seeing none. We will then go to any final presentations. Ryan, you good?
Hey, I just do want to note that we did send out notice by mail to primarily the residents to the subdivisions to the north, the Grove and Four Lakes, so they were properly notified, and that includes the association. So once it goes to the association, pretty much everybody is
right. Okay.
You know, made aware.
Okay, good. Any final comments from the applicant? Seeing none. At this point, then, all the documents and tangible evidence have been presented into evidence or in the hands of the clerk. Madam Clerk, are you good? Okay. And with that, I will close the public hearing. Commissioners, your pleasure.
Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to, unless anybody has any discussion, but I'm not hearing it, move staff recommendation.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Vice Chair Ehrman. We have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Vice Chair Ehrman. All in favor of the motion signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We move to public discussion items. We have a request to speak from Dennis Dunlap regarding proposed unleashed dog access on beaches. Is Mr. Dunlap here this morning? Yes, sir. Please come up to the podium. If you could give your... That's okay. Either one is fine. Yes, sir. Yep. Okay. If you would give your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Dennis Dunlap, 141 Palm Island Lane in Palm Island Plantation. Good morning, Commissioners. I've been a resident of Indian River Shores for 17 years. Palm Island Plantation is a gated community of, on A1A of roughly 130 residences. I'm also on our association board of directors. At Palm Island, we enjoy a private beach club with access to a beautiful beach. Turtle Trail borders our beach club. With this proximity of private and public access, the beach is frequently in use, especially on weekends and holidays. My wife and I love the beach, and we love dogs. We've been married 50 years, have never been without a dog. Maybe the key reason for our marriage longevity.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We currently have 2 King Charles Cavaliers. Because of our love affair with the beach and dogs, we are strongly opposed to the proposed unleashed dog access on beach. Many friends and neighbors with whom I've talked are also opposed. I believe there are 3 locations, including Turtle Trail, being considered for all-day, no-leash dog parks. People have expressed concern about this. It is highly unlikely dogs would stay within the imaginary boundaries for the dog parks. Unleashed dogs would run north and south of the designated parks. Rules and regulations will be near impossible to enforce. All dogs would be welcomed, including more aggressive dogs. After the word spreads that Indian River County permits off-leash dogs on the beach, it will become a dog magnet. In addition to these issues, there are some compelling common sense reasons for opposing the off-leash dog parks. Most important being 1, environmental concerns, 2, human safety, and 3, the liability risk. Let me elaborate on these considerations. There are many negative environmental consequences, including, among others, a dramatic increase in dog feces and urine deposited on the beach, increased ocean pollution, adverse public health consequences, destruction of sea turtles, their eggs, and other marine life, damage to the fragile sand dunes, disturbance to the delicate seaside ecosystem. Given these and other environmental issues, the Board of County Commissioners should consider conducting an environmental impact study before voting on this proposal. Human safety is also a major concern. Unleashed dogs attacking and biting beach goers. Of course, beach owners say their dog doesn't bite, but they do. T.C. Palm newspaper article reported that Indian River County has had over 240 bites in 2019, more than St. Lucie County, which is twice the size of Indian River County. A neighbor sent me a photo taken Sunday, October 30th, of 2 large German Shepherds roaming off-leash at least 100 yards from their owner in the Turtle Trail beach area. How dangerous is that to a family with children on the beach? Dog waste is not only an environmental issue, but also a human safety concern. Pet waste is very toxic. EPA estimates waste produced by 100 dogs in 2 or 3 days can contain enough bacteria to contaminate the shoreline and close all beaches in the swimming areas. Dog excrement is classified as a biohazard by the EPA and responsible for a large amount of water pollution. Most important, waste can carry germs, bacteria, and parasites that can become infectious to people, especially younger children. They are at higher risk for dog-related illnesses. Finally, is the liability risk to the town, county, and commissioners of off-leash dog attacks. This is a potential risk which I can't imagine anyone wants to take, especially for a proposal with little benefit to a few and little support among majority of Indian River Shore residents, with and without dogs. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you this morning, Commissioners, on this very concerning proposal. And let me also add congratulations and thank you to Commissioner O'Brien for your years of service.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dunlap. Appreciate it. Thank you for speaking this morning. We also have a request to speak from Robert Christensen on the off-leash dog beach. Pardon? Yep, absolutely. If you could give your name and address for the record, please.
Morning. First, Chairman, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
I have some advice for you. Take it and run.
Okay. Good advice.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about the proposed off-leash dog beach. I'm reminded of an old cliche, and that is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I am Robert Christensen, a 16-year resident in Palm Island Plantation, which owns the beach immediately north of the Turtle Beach Access Trail. I am a beach person. My wife is a passionate beach walker. We go to the beach. We take our grands to the beach. I am a dog person. I have owned dogs forever. That said, I have a healthy fear of off-leash dogs in general, and specifically on bathing beaches in close proximity to people who are engaging in normal beach activities. A long time ago, my dog was mauled and almost killed by a, quote, friendly neighbor's dog. Recently, I experienced the panic and fear that only a grandparent can feel when watching an illegal, off-leash, giant poodle running at full speed to my 4-year-old who is playing in the sand in Palm Island. After screaming in panic and to distract the dog, I was aggressively chastised by the owner for, quote, overreacting because, of course, this dog was friendly and loved children. So yes, I strongly oppose off-leash dogs on public bathing beaches. Before proceeding, I'd like to correct 2 factual misunderstandings that I think seek to support this proposal. Stuck together, I'll get there. First, it has been suggested that they are not heavily used. I can't speak to Sea Grape, but Turtle Trail parking lot on any Sunday is full, and Turtle Trail also provides walk-on access for everyone on the other side of A1A. Second, it has also been suggested that since Indian River County owns the beach access strips, it can permit off-leash dog access with its rules without interfering with the rights of the adjacent private property owners or Indian River Shores public safety regulation of its beaches. That is wishful thinking at best. The beach access strip is about 200 feet wide, plus or minus. I haven't measured it. It is bordered on both sides by Indian River Shores private properties subject to Indian River Shores regulation and public safety responsibility. Even if you put a chain link fence up on either side of your 200-foot wide sliver of beach, all of the off-leash dog owners will merely go north and south on the wet sand, relying upon their public access rights, bringing them into conflict with the rights of the private property owners and the Indian River Shores beach regulations. And I don't think even the smartest dog knows or cares about staying below the mean high tide line. No. And the harsh facts are that while most dogs are well-behaved pets of responsible owners, there are dogs that are wild and bite, and there are irresponsible owners. The proposal to permit off-leash dogs on our beaches on its face would be an irresponsible departure from the existing long-standing and common-sense regulation of dogs in public places. But let's look at what other towns have done about dogs on their beaches. Brevard County on leash. St. Lucie County, Walton Rocks only. St. Augustine, on a leash. Indian Atlantic, on a leash. Smyrna Beach, on a leash. Sebastian Inlet Park, no dogs on a beach. And your own Wabasso Beach, no dogs. Bear with me. I do have to stop here and note the irony that Indian River County, recognizing the inherent risk of dogs and people playing together, have categorically outlawed dogs in all of its parks while advancing an off-leash dog beach in a neighboring town. But what about the off-leash beaches? If I may hand this up. The off-leash beaches are Walton Rocks, 24 acres. Jupiter, no dogs in the lifeguard area, 2.5 miles of beach. Hallover in Miami, 177 acres, and Indian River Shores, registered dogs before 9 and after 5. Note that all the off-leash beach permits are huge areas separated from the public bathing beach or limited in times when the public bathing beach is not present. Finally, let's look at the Vero Beach Dog Park, Instructive, a privately operated, enclosed, off-leash area where the general public is not involved or exposed. Their regulations, created by dog lovers to manage each other, are instructive. Number one, this is a quote: "The dog park is inherently dangerous for small children who may not be able to handle the interaction with dogs. Strollers, carriers, and children's toys should not be brought into the park." Number 13, no running by adults or children. And finally, no food or toys that smell like food. Oh, no children, no running, no food? The critical fact is that Sea Grape Trail and Turtle Trail are not dog parks. They are not enclosed, manageable dry land created for dog owners away from the public. They are the opposite. They are crowded, narrow strips of fragile beach full of families, children, running and jumping and splashing, strollers, beach chairs, umbrellas, toys, food, fishermen, music, and turtle nests. They're also not 24 acres of open land, 5 miles down the road past the nuclear power plant, or 177 acres, or even 2.5 miles of beach. They're a measly 200 feet in someone else's town. More importantly, they are an invaluable and finite resource, specifically created and maintained at great public expense for the safe use and enjoyment of the entire public. Permitting off-leashed dogs at any time would render them unsafe, unsanitary, and unusable for the entire community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Christensen. You good, Mike? Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Fleischer?
I just wanted, Mr. Christensen provided this. I needed to get this over to the attorney so it can go to the...
Yeah, you just want to pass it back down? Okay.
Mr. Christensen will retain that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Moss?
I'd just like to ask a question, if I may, of actually the county administrator. As you know, in early October, it was a 4-to-1 vote. I was the only one who voted against it for the board to instruct staff to research the matter. What would be the timeline that you would see in terms of it coming back to the board?
Staff is planning to bring something back in December, a report back on what we've found.
Okay. All right, very good. At least the community knows then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the county administrator matters, we have a Hurricane Nicole storm update. Mr. Brown.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. As we know, the county received a direct impact from Category 1 Hurricane Nicole last week. As we sit here, I'll tell you today, I think the county fared better than I would have expected, having been told we would be impacted with direct landfall with a Category 1 storm. Most of the area held up well. I would say the largest impact that has been significant would be our beach areas and areas along the river to an extent as well. We've got a few before and after pictures just to go over. If you could just cycle through those, Kim, we could just starting at the north end of here's the various different areas of the county. We break up the county into 8 sectors for our beach planning purposes, starting with sectors 1 and 2 up at near the Sebastian Inlet and moving downward. You can see the critically eroded areas that have been designated by DEP highlighted in red. Those are the areas that have been typically eligible for re-nourishment, and we, as part of our beach preservation plan, from time to time re-nourish sectors 3, 5, and 7. Sector 3 is about 6.5 miles around Wabasso Beach. Sector 5 covers the southern end of Indian River Shores as well as Vero Beach down through the Riamar area, and then Sector 7 is a portion of the South Barrier Island south of city limits, includes areas like the Moorings and Seagrove. So with that, if you could advance those. This is just a little bit of the observations that staff saw following the beaches. We've had numerous beaches that had varying amounts of damage to both the berm and the dune. So the berm is that lower part of the beach where people walk and enjoy the beach, and then the dune is that protective measure at the top. We saw numerous dune crossover structures damaged throughout the county, and as noted, the City of Vero Beach at Con Beach had a little bit of undermining of their road as well as their boardwalk, and we have not found any failed seawalls at this point. So with that, just keep going. So this is before and after, starting at Ambersand Beach in Sector 2 at the north end of the county. You can see there that there was some retreat of the dune. For instance, in the picture to the left, you can see that there's more area before those 4x4 posts. So here we had about a 4 to 5 foot dune retreat and escarpments of 4 to 5 feet. Keep on going. Sector 3, the Wabasso area, more of the same, about an 8-foot dune retreat. Next, going on down Sector 3, this is Golden Sands, one of the county's beach parks. So you can see a retreat here and some loss and some damage to some of the county facilities, about a 6-foot retreat. Going further south in the town of Orchid, they experienced about a 12-foot retreat and an 8-foot escarpment. So you can see here in the picture to the left, the dune extended to maybe within a foot or two west of that crosswalk, and then after you can see a significant distance between those two. So that's points out the large dune retreat. This is Wabasso Beach Park, probably the county's most popular beach for attendance, and you can see here that the structure there had dune around it, and then there's been significant, about a 20 to 25 foot dune retreat at that location. Keep going further, Sea Grape Trail, which we were just talking about. You can see in that left picture, it looks like there's not a dune crossover, but it's actually up there behind where the dune is, and so then it is significantly exposed. There was a 12-foot loss of dune there. If we keep going, Turtle Trail, more of the same. We see this as we go further south. Keep going. So this is Beachcomber Lane, which is in the town of Indian River Shores, Sector 4. Tracking Station Beach Park in Sector 5, you can see significant damage to our facilities there. We continue to see this now getting into the City of Vero Beach. This is the JC and Con Beach Boardwalk, which we know has sustained some damage there, as well as the parking area. Humiston Beach in the City of Vero had damage to their concrete boardwalk there, undermining due to the wave action. Keep going. this continued Sector 7, which is that southern barrier island area. You can see there was a lowering of the berm there, and now it's retreated back to this seawall in this location. Here's in Porpoise Point, which is in Sector 7. So you can see before a decent amount of beach there. After, there was significant damage. If you go to the next slide, Kim, you can see the failure of that private beach access or dune crossover. Round Island at the south end of the county in Sector 8, which performs pretty well, has the largest amount of beach left. Not a significant impact here. Here is just a little aerial of Wabasso before Ian, and then here we are post Ian, and then here's post Nicole. So you can see and this just shows that our beaches had already experienced, as we know, some loss from Ian. We're in a weakened state, and then more damage in Nicole. We have been able to open successfully 3 of our beach access points, but some of the others are going to require a little bit of work before we're able to open those back up based on the damage. So that has been the big impact. We also had some more coastal impact. The county at Wabasso Causeway Park, we had some damage to our boat ramps and the park area. Jungle Trail, those types of areas received some damage. We were, with the tremendous work of our Parks and Rec folks, be able to make some temporary repairs to reopen the Wabasso beach or boat ramp over the weekend. So want to thank them for that. So that has been the major impact. When we get to debris, it seems that Hurricane Ian probably provided a good pruning 6 weeks ago, because while we experienced a probably similar type level activity, the amount of yard waste that we've seen seems to be much less than we had for Ian so far. With that, I'll say staff's not recommending we do a mobilization of our contractors. I just don't think there's that much out there. I will say that during the local declaration of emergency, under the authority of the declaration, I did waive the yard waste tipping fees at the landfill to encourage folks, if they did have yard waste, and particularly if it exceeds the size which Waste Management will pick up, or which is accepted for free at our convenience centers, at our 5 convenience centers, we did waive that. That expires this morning with the local declaration. I ask the board to consider whether you want to extend that for another week or 2 to help encourage those folks. But my authority is gone to do that, so that would take board action to do that. With that, I think we were very blessed. Our residents again were also very smart and took care of what they needed to do and heeded the things that they needed to do, and were smart like always. And so we were able to escape without any significant issues. I would like to thank county staff, all county staff that worked during the storm, particularly emergency management and fire rescue, also our public works, Parks and Rec, and utilities folks, as well as these are team events. We have to work with many partners in these. We open shelters, which requires cooperation from the school board, SRA, the health department, other entities. We work hand in hand with our municipalities during these events, as well as law enforcement, the sheriff's office, and the city PDs to make sure that we keep everyone safe. And it really is a team effort each time. And I want to thank those other entities as well, because we always work well together and do what's best at the time to make sure that we keep everybody safe. So with that, I'll stop talking, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of Jason? Commissioner Fleischer.
Mr. Chair, again, thank you, Jason, for the full report. We most certainly did sustain significant damage on the beach, which we will be addressing as the days and months go by, hopefully not years. It's going to be costly. But there hasn't been too much in vegetative waste pile up post the storm. As you pointed out, Hurricane Ian kind of pruned out the thick brush. But there is some, and since we're not going to be seeking any federal funds or having any program or administering releasing the retainer for our contractors. I believe it's in the best interest, best spirit of our community to waive the tipping fees for the period of next 2 weeks, to give them the opportunity to give all the contractors that they hire, the landscapers, or truckers to cart off anything that they see fit. There's not a lot, but it is piled up. It's expected that we'll go out there and be picking it up, which will not be happening. So in that spirit, I'd like to make motion to extend the vegetative waste tipping fee waiver for an additional 2 weeks from today, so that'll give people ample time to clean up and get rid of that vegetative waste.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Fleischer, second by Commissioner Moss. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chairman?
Chairman Fleischer, or Mr. Fleischer, would you like to go till the 30th would be the last day of the month, which would be an additional day? Just make
Why
it
not?
till the last day of the month, in November.
If that's going to harness another vote,
So we
I
start
think-
fresh on December 1st.
Let's go with a
and we're
full
good to go.
support.
We're good to go.
I'll be happy to amend my motion.
And I'd be happy to second it.
Okay.
A second time.
Any other discussion? So we have a motion by Commissioner Fleischer, second by Commissioner Moss to extend the waiver of tipping fees until the end of November. All in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? I'm sorry, anyone from the public wish to comment? Okay. All in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? That passes 5-0. Jason, I'd just like to add that we sustained some damage at our boat dock at Fire Station number 2, and that dock is utilized not only by the fire boat, but the Sheriff's Office, City of Vero Beach, and the FWC. And so the FWC reached out looking for alternative areas, and it looks like, I believe, the City of Vero Beach Marina is going to be able to accommodate the FWC. So I just want to say thank you to Sean Collins, the Marina manager, and Monty Falls, the city manager, for helping to put that together to help out the FWC. They're going to be busy trying to round up all the derelict vessels that are floating around and stuff. So just want to thank Vero Beach for accommodating that. Okay, that concludes county administrator matters. We move on to public works. The first item is the Florida Department of Transportation locally funded agreement for Oslo Road widening project. And Mr. Rich Spirica. Good morning, Rich.
Morning, Commissioners. So what we have before you is an LFA with FDOT to paint the mast. Yeah, I love all those acronyms, right? To paint the mast arms on Oslo Road. So normally, mast arms come dip galvanized gray color. In the county, we paint the mast arms green. It's a forest green. It's throughout the county. It's been part of the county's infrastructure for a long time. And to continue on with this, DOT cannot use federal dollars to go ahead and paint these mast arms. So with that, DOT has provided us with an agreement to participate in the Oslo Road to have these painted green. So with that, the cost of the painting is $90,000. It's basically $20,000 an intersection. It's not that big of a deal for each intersection, but it is a cost that we are responsible for. The cost is that $90,000 isn't available in the secondary, in secondary roads ridge maintenance account. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve the locally funded agreement and authorizing resolution and accept the LFA and the MMOA and authorize the chair to execute the same.
Thank you, Mr. Spirica. Commissioners.
Mr. Chair, I'll be happy to make a motion to move staff's recommendation, but I just am struck by how ridiculous this seems just to get mast arms painted. But I get it. We have to be official, but it seems a bit much. I'm just saying.
Bill knows the whole story behind it. He could provide.
I really don't. I probably will just aggravate me more, so we'll just go with the motion and leave it at that.
With that, and I'll second.
Yeah.
let me second it so we can get to the voting and.
I thought maybe Vice Chair Ehrman would want us to do a little wrap on them instead of painting them.
Yeah, we could do that.
That's a whole nother LFA, MMOA, and God only knows what, so we'll stick with this.
We have a motion by Commissioner Adams, seconded by Commissioner Flesher for staff recommendation. Is there anyone from the audience besides Phil Mattson that wants to speak on this?
It's two podiums.
Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Mr. Spirica, you are up again for change order number 1, construction of intersection improvements at State Road 60 and 43rd Avenue. I know you told us that this project would be done by Thanksgiving a couple of months ago, but I wonder, was that Thanksgiving of 23 or 24?
5.
25, okay.
Make sure.
So,
A couple months, no, it's not, we will have all 6 lanes open by Thanksgiving. If you
oh, can I write that down? Can I write that down?
Sure.
All 6 lanes.
All 6 lanes open by Thanksgiving. And as a citizen of Indian River County, feel free to contact me. After the.
I'm going to tell Commissioner-elect Lohr to hold you to that.
So if you've so just to let you know, even with Hurricane Nicole, they've been out there paving. If you've been through there, they've done a lot of the structural paving. We're getting to the point where they're finishing up the islands. If you look at the islands, they're nice, pretty red brick colors in there as part of our aesthetics for that intersection. So they're moving along. With that said, change order number 1 is twofold. Change order number 1 is to amend the contract with Timothy Rose Contracting for the 400 and, excuse me a second. Where'd it go?
403,000.
Yeah, the 435,000 that we approved, or the 403,000 that the board approved last week for the agreement with DOT. Now what we have to do is go ahead and do a change order with the contractor, and the board and DOT has authorized that expenditure. The second part of the change order number 1 is to increase the cost of the contract by $460,000 for asphalt increases. Basically, as you all are aware, prices for everything, fuel, asphalt, materials has skyrocketed. The contractor has been really good about being able to absorb some of those costs, but he can no longer do that. And with DOT authorizing increases in materials for asphalt, we ran the numbers and we came up with a $460,000 with the amount of asphalt left on the project. Funding's available in the optional sales tax for 43rd Avenue. Staff recommends approving change order number 1, authorizing the addition of 87 days to the contract time and additional funding in the amount of $863,685.50. The new total of the contract will be $14,505,274. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions of staff?
No.
Mr. Chairman, I think this was dubbed by Commissioner Adams a couple meetings ago. It was a project that never ends. But, you know, it's going to be a great project when it's done. And I get asked all the time about it. You know, people ask me all the time, when's 43rd and 60 going to be done? You know, this and that. One thing I do tell them that what's been nice about this is that 43rd and 60 has always been open. And when you got the right turn lane open, it made a huge difference on that when you're going north on 43rd. And it actually works better already than it did before. So if there's one thing we can say out of it, it may not have been the most attractive thing to see over the last few years, but it's been a very workable intersection. The intersection, other than when some lanes are closed and you're going, say, east on 60 through that intersection, it backs up a little bit. But I know it's been very difficult for you and your staff and for Tim Rose with the delays we've had. But I do just see that coming to an end, and it'll be a really good thing for the community. And I appreciate your hard work. I know it hadn't been easy, but with that, I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Ehrman, second by Commissioner Adams for staff recommendation. Is there anyone from the audience that wishes to speak on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Commissioners, we would normally take a break now, but we've got just a couple of items left. And if we could get through those and then take a break before we pick up 5A would be my preference. If everybody's good with that? Okay. So then we move on to the county attorney matters, a demolition lien on 1705 45th Avenue. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Commissioner. Susan Prado, Assistant County Attorney. I was contacted by the current property owner for this property located at 1705 45th Ave in Vero Beach, Florida, 32966, to ask about a reduction in a demolition lien. I did advise him that we were having this set for today. He advised that he was not going to be here unless Mr. Hawkins happened to come into town. I don't see him here. But I advised I would bring it in front of the board and ask what the board would like to have done. But I did state here in our recommendation that we keep consistent with with the board's prior lien releases, which is about 90% of the interest, leaving about 10% of the interest. So that would bring, as of this month, the total amount due is $9,796.76, waiving the 90% of the interest on that. And with the base principal amount for the demolition lien, it comes out to a total of $6,334.86.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of staff? Okay. Commissioners?
I'd be happy to move approval.
I'll second that. So we have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by myself to waive 90% of the interest and accept the balance of the payment on the lien. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Move to commissioner items. We have a memorandum from Vice Chair Ehrman on revised beach renourishment project easements. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, I was going to bring this to the board a few times, but I've gotten pulled. I pulled it due to additional information and additional concerns. Back in a previous meeting, when I first brought this to the board, I asked that we look at the easement with regards to working on the beaches with beach restoration. And I guess this may be a timely discussion right now after what we had, But I brought this for you with some ideas, some changes, but I wanted to run it through different citizens in the community, especially the Sector 7 community. I wanted to work with the county attorney, who's been very patient with me on this with regards to the changes that need to be made. And I present to you that this that I believe is our final shot, our final easement, possibly to get this done, to get the Sector 7 area done and to reach that 90% threshold. What we've done after discussion with different homeowners in the area and different folks, and between Dylan and myself, we looked at the easement that we used back in 2009. That was a 15-year easement, and we used some of the language. In there because this was a simple easement, and that seemed to be the very core of what I was being told by folks out there in the community and other attorneys that I spoke with. You know, people understand what's going on. They understand the what we're doing out there. They understand the turtles. They understand the customary use of the beach, you know, that's going to be used for recreation and things of that nature. And so they wanted to make it simple. And when I looked at this 2009 easement that y'all used, that at least two of y'all used, it was a fairly simple easement. And it made sense. The caveat was that it had a 15-year expiration date on it. So somebody in 2009, it would have expired next year, and you'd had to redo it all over again. So looking at this easement and making some of the changes in it, basically you can read through it if you want, and hopefully you did in the backup material. It just talks about having the easement, allowing the county to go out there and re-nourish the beaches, plant dunes, and do what they need to do to temporarily store and remove equipment as needed, and then also that it would protect for the turtle habitat, and that it shall run with the land. There's no perpetual wording in there. I guess it would be assumed if somebody was going to do this as what they would do. This is very similar to what Comcast uses. We looked at that one and found it was pretty much in line with this, what Comcast and what other utility company uses with regards to this. So without making a long story out of this, we looked at this and we wanted it to follow state law, which is 161-141, which talks about property rights of state and private upland owners in the beach restoration projects, and it covers that. And that's a part of the law that both of us have to follow, that we follow and that the homeowner has to follow. So it's a one-page document. What I'd like to do is, if y'all think it's, if it's okay, I'd like to take it back to the Beach and Shores. I think we have a meeting next week, and we have a lot to talk about in the Beach and Shores with regards to what Jason presented earlier, and then what I have now presented to you. But I feel this is kind of our last shot at doing this. If we send these out with a letter with my signature on it, explaining to what we're trying to do here, and people sign this agreement and get it back, and we reach a 90%, we're good. But if we don't, then we just start it all over again with the next storm in Sector 7 and try to do it all over again. If we can't ever get 90%, then I guess we don't put any sand on that beach, and I hate to make that decision or sound that way, but I think we have a good chance to reach the 90% threshold and put sand on Sector 7 like was last done in 2007. So, you know, with that, I would just like to receive your permission to take this back to the Beach and Shores to have them look at it. And if you like it, have them take a look at it, and we'll go from there and work with staff on trying to send it out. There is one correction to be made in that Florida statute in this. Typo, it says 161-441, it should be 161-141, which is again the property rights of the state and private upland owners in beach restoration projects. So I'll ask the county attorney to give his 2 cents worth on this.
I'd be happy to. I didn't know if there was discussion amongst the board first, and then I'd be happy to chime in, or if you like my comments
I think
now.
just what he's asking is to go ahead and send it to Beach and Shore, and then I assume it would come back to the board after that.
Yeah, and that procedurally was wondering, so if it's the will of this board to send it Beach and Shore, get their input and comments, and then have it come back to this board in December at some point, I have no further comments.
That was my thought.
I think I would be good with that. I think that'd be following procedure. Or Commissioner Adams?
I just had some questions.
Okay.
What's still in between this easement and the original easement? Highlight the changes, because I don't see a strike through and underline that I could see that.
So conceptually, the difference between the easements is the removal of the broader customary use language, and it's been replaced by the reference to 161.141 of the Florida statutes. I will note under 161.141 of the public statute, Florida statutes, it states the resulting additions to upland property are also subject to a public easement for traditional uses of the sandy beach, consistent with uses that would have been allowed prior to the need for the restoration project. So the concept there is, if the Indian River County does a beach renourishment project and there is sand from our project lying landward of the mean high water line or the erosion control line, that the public has gained through statutory right the ability to use it for all the traditional customer uses. The one caution that I do want to mention here, I'll mention at Beach and Shore, and then probably again when it comes back in December, is just simply, arguably under the statute, if we do a beach renourishment project and our sand goes away because of erosion, hurricane, storm event, or the like, arguably there's no more resulting additions to upland property, and then therefore there are no public rights to that portion landward of the mean high water line after such event occurs under the statute. That's just a caution that I throw out there, is just a reading that I've had of the statute.
So I guess I have no problem sending it to Beaches and Shores and getting their input. I think that's perfectly fine. But when it comes back, I guess I'm going to probably want a little bit more of a discussion on this, because I still have some concerns, some pretty big concerns about changing the language so drastically compared to the other easements that we've gotten recently. Customary use law has changed since 2009, the last time we did this. That's why our easements have changed. And I want to make sure that we are consistent across the whole beach management program area, because we will continue to have to do projects. So I'll be interested to see what they think, but I get where we're trying to go here and trying to make it more palatable, but it seems, at least on first blush, kind of a drastic departure from the current easements. And in this particular area, I don't feel it's as necessary for us to bend over backwards and make certain accommodations to make a project happen. So when there's no real public access, and it's a large amount of taxpayer dollars that we still have to kick in because it's not a fully funded project. So I think last time this came up, those are things I mentioned. I'm still kind of there, but I think it needs to go through the process and have Beaches and Shores input.
Right. I would also add on that the 2009 agreement, which is taken from, was very, very simple. After 2009, and Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, is when kind of the whole customary use thing flared up across the state, and everybody was kind of in a panic as to what to do, as what to write. I think that's since has subsided. I think the legislature maybe needs to address it a little further if they need to, but it's kind of one of those things, if there's not a problem, it doesn't get looked at, kind of thing. So I think that's where we're at on this. Again, the reason for doing this was just to make it simple, and I tell you that while that area doesn't have much access at all, and it's not a problem, I don't think that was one of the things I didn't understand about they wouldn't sign the original easement, because you're not going to have thousands or hundreds of sunbathers on your beach down in the Sector 7 area. Unless you want to walk, the only way you can get to it's from Round Island or South Beach Park, and that's it. So my biggest concern was the people that don't live on the beach but live in, say, those subdivisions there that want to have a good beach and want to have access, even though they don't actually live on the dune thing. And I don't know if it's drastic more than it's just, this is kind of the last shot that we're going to take. If we don't, then Commissioner Adams, I'd tell you, we'll stay with what we currently have, and move on from there. But I think it's at least worth a shot. So that's where I'll go with this.
Yeah.
Commissioner Fleischer?
Mr. Chairman, and once again, I don't believe it's a drastic change. It is a change. I do think there's a remedy as well with that change for those who have signed the perpetuity clause. I think, Counselor, correct me if I'm thinking the wrong direction, but we can invite anybody who has signed that agreement to come back, and we'll have to, that could be the remedy. We'll have to sort that out, but they could agree to the new agreement even after the fact. Is that correct?
If that's the policy direction of the board, then yes, absolutely.
But it could be done. So there could be a remedy so that everyone is consistently treated in the same manner for beach restoration across the board, all sectors.
Yep. If that's the will of the board, we certainly could work with homeowners to replace the easements that they have signed.
I have a question then, a follow-up to what you just said. So are you suggesting that we go back to like Sector 5 and Sector 3 and all these other sectors where we've collected the old easement and have them sign this new easement? Is that what you're suggesting? Because you said across the whole.
I believe we'll have to have a discussion, but we could afford them the opportunity to do that so that this way they don't say, you're doing something special for this sector to try to get these people to sign up so that we could restore the beach for the greater good of the public, that we're having to sign an agreement that's different than those who have signed an agreement that have given up their rights in perpetuity, may want to have that revisited and be able to sign this agreement so that it still could be done, but everyone would be being treated fairly and equitably across the board. that there would be no uniqueness to Sector 7.
Okay, I think as a policy issue, I would have to respectfully disagree with that because you have projects that have already been completed based on easements that are already recorded that you would then propose we go back and change. But that's probably part of the bigger discussion after it goes to beaches and shores. But I guess that's my bigger overall issue with this is the slippery slope and black hole we could get sucked into when it comes to this whole thing.
Well, and I agree. That's why I wanted to suggest that there is a possibility for a remedy so that we could have consistency and fairness across the board.
But I think we could achieve that by sticking with the easement we have, and they just have to sign it. Then everybody's treated equitable and fairly.
Chairman, I would tell you, I think
just
that
have
that
to
has been
sign
brought
it.
up that, what do you need to do about the rest of the easement sign? I think anybody that signed the easement is good with that, and they're not gonna question this. If they do, then they could be presented this easement. I think we go back eventually to the ones in Sector 3 and Sector 5 and all those that didn't sign the previous easement and ask them if they'd be interested in signing this. I don't want to make this complicated.
Okay.
But I think that's a discussion for another time. I think what I would like to do is make a motion to have, to have this sent back to the Beach and Shores and bring it back to the commission for final approval.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Ehrman, second by Commissioner Flesher. Under discussion, Commissioner Moss.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Vice Chair for all his work on this. I certainly appreciate it, and I'm happy to have the opinion of the Beach and Shores Commission. That being said, I don't see an expiration date in this agreement, and if there's no expiration date, it is in perpetuity. So, and I thought that that was the objection initially, but again, we'll discuss this at length. I'm happy to have the opinion of Beach and
I think the big objection is the public access part of it. So, and that's what's been taken out of this. But, and I'm fine sending this to Beach and Shore, and when it comes back, y'all can decide what you want to do, and Commissioner-elect Laura will weigh in as well. So we have a motion to send this to Beach and Shore by Vice Chair Ehrman, second by Commissioner Flesher. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Putting on our special districts hat, the Solid Waste Disposal District, Solid Waste and Recycling Collection Procurement Services by Kessler Consulting. This is a fancy way of saying develop the bid for our franchise haulers. Good morning, Himanshu.
Good morning, Himanshu Mehta.
And the recent winner of the Above and Beyond Award.
Appreciate it, thank you. The key lime pie was great. Thank you. So yes, we currently have a franchise agreement with Waste Management. We just exercised that renewal. So as of October 1 of this year through September 30, 2025, we have an active franchise agreement. Our county code basically puts a limit on the franchise agreement to a maximum of 10-year period. So once that agreement expires, we want to go ahead and start early this time and get a process started on the franchise agreement process. Yes, thank you.
If anybody didn't see it.
But apologize. So Kessler Consulting helped us back in 2014, 2015 through this process. So we want to go ahead and get them on board. I do want to mention one of the things in talking to Kessler Consulting and the timeline they provided. They're looking to provide or get this process done and provide either the current hauler or any potential future hauler about 14 months to basically get any new trucks if they need them, more carts, hire employees, and so on and so forth, so that we have a ample enough time. They feel that that's comfortable. At some point prior to us going out to bid, we will bring some sort of an agenda item in terms of a draft RFP, elements to the board. As of right now, staff has been happy with sort of the once-a-week garbage collection, once-a-week yard waste, and the recycling that we have. There are certain municipalities that are interested in participating with us, so we'll also reach out to them in our process. I know it was a drastic change last time, so we're hoping to keep this simple. One of the things that, before the full new board, that would make a decision on this, but we would like to, again, consider going to universal collection for garbage inside the urban service area. We feel like that is still something that is much needed in our community. We have folks that still continue to take advantage of our recycling program and use them for trash collection. So I think certainly that's something that we would get pricing on and let the future board consider a decision on that. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
Motion approved.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Ehrman, second by Commissioner Flesher. Anyone from the audience wish to comment? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? Carries 5-0. And the second item is approval for off-site disposal of concentrated leachate cost increase. Commissioners?
This Commissioner Adams, she loves leachate.
I do.
Move approval.
We have a motion by Commissioner Flesher. I'll go ahead and second. Anyone from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor signify with aye. Opposed? That carries 5-0. So that completes the agenda except for item 5A. Why don't we go ahead and take a short break and be back here at 11:10 to take up item 5A. We'll call the meeting back to order. Our last agenda item is item 5A, which is a presentation and proclamation honoring Peter D. O'Brien, Commissioner of District 4, on the occasion of his retirement. And I think I'll just go ahead and turn the gavel over to the Vice Chairman and let him run things from here. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, it's my honor, and I was going to tell you, let me take it from here.
Had it going.
So
just a little foreshadowing for next week.
Kind of strange reading yourself about a proclamation about yourself,
Yep.
but I think it'll be a good proclamation, and I'm looking forward to presenting it later on. We have a few things we have to do beforehand, okay? Just a few things, and a few people that may want to say a few things, and so we'll kind of go from there. But ladies and gentlemen, we now want to take this time to honor, as I call Mr. Chairman, Peter D. O'Brien, a man I greatly respect on his 16 years of service as Indian River County Commissioner. 16 years in office is a great accomplishment, especially in this day and age. But he did it with style and class, and this guy sitting next to me has done it truly. He's done a truly worthy job, and he's made a big impact on the county and the citizens of Indian River. So, Mr. Chairman, just kind of sit back and take it all in, and you deserve it. So the first thing I want to bring up, I want to talk about, and I want to ask our county attorney and our assistant county attorney, Mr. Dubraw, Mr. Reingold, and Mr. Dubraw to help me on this little thing. And you probably know what I'm going to talk about, because when I was on the commission, I first got on the commission, and we were talking about right-of-ways and stuff like that. And here's a guy that comes up with an idea that let's just make it right for the person that we're buying the right-of-way from, and to heck with all the attorneys and surveyors and all the professional people that are going to get their cut of it. If we can make it right, let's make it right. I thought that was an outstanding thing to do, and I thought that is actually a good steward of the county's tax money. So before I read what we have, I would ask Mr. Dubraw to chime in and Mr. Reingold to chime in.
Thank you, Commissioner Ehrman and Commissioner O'Brien. I will miss the Tuesday morning sparring sessions with you as far as agenda items. They always made me stay on my game if possible. But I really appreciate the approach that you take to eminent domain. It's a process that makes absolutely no sense. And the best you can do is not lose that badly, oddly enough. But your approach is eminently fair. It's interesting when you negotiate with someone and you say, no, I'll offer you even more money than you're asking for, so this process goes as smooth as possible with as little pain to the property owner as can be. I think it was forward thinking of you, and I hope that tradition carries on and has made a lasting impression on your fellow commissioners. Thank you for your years of service, and the best of luck to you and your bride.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate those words.
Mr. Reingold.
I think Bill summed it up great in terms of the O'Brien rule. I'd like Commissioner Ehrman to read the O'Brien rule. I might have some comments after everyone hears the list of individuals mentioned in it.
Well, with that, Mr. Chairman, I can tell you that we are going to read the proclamation of the establishment of the O'Brien rules, that hopefully even after I'm not a commissioner, and Commissioner Fleischer will still be here, but after I'm not a commissioner, that that this will be kind of the unofficial law of the land for further commissioners when we buy right away. So with that, I would like to read this proclamation. And this proclamation is regarding the establishment of the O'Brien rule. Whereas the population of Indian River County is growing, and roadways must always grow in order to handle the increase in traffic. And whereas sometimes it is necessary to purchase right-of-way parcels of land from our citizens in order to expand the roadways. And whereas the county expects to pay property owners a reasonable amount for their fair property when it must be acquired for county use. This is all with the understanding that it may be necessary to appropriate to pay amounts in excess of appraised value based upon the potential disruption of purchases. And whereas Commissioner Peter D. O'Brien has long been a passionate advocate for county taxpayers to ensure that the county pays a reasonable amount for the acquisition of right-of-ways, he has had a particular focus on ensuring that the county pay as much of these funds to the actual landowners and as little to out-of-town attorneys and experts in quotation marks as possible. And whereas Commissioner O'Brien's colleagues have respected his judgment and opinions on this matter for many years, even inquiring as to whether a particular purchase meets the O'Brien rule, in quotation marks, standard when making right-of-way. And whereas Commissioner O'Brien's retirement makes it desirable to memorialize the concepts contained in the O'Brien rule for the benefit of future commissioners and posterity. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the O'Brien rule be applied in each of Indian River County right-of-way purposes, and the board refuse to pay lawyers and expert witnesses more than necessary, and that most funds be provided to the actual property owners, adopted this 15th day of November, 2022, and signed by myself, Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Fleischer, and Commissioner Moss. So, sir, we will adopt the O'Brien rule ex officio, and hopefully commissioners now and in the future will remember this and use it to steer the county in the purchase of right-of-ways.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of this to hang in your office, so you'll be fully reminded of it.
We made one that we're going to hang in the office up there, and
Okay, all right.
you'll get a copy of that also.
Very good. Thank you.
So, all right, well, that's the first presentation with regards to that. And now we're going to ask some people, we're going to kind of do this, we're going to save the proclamation for last. So I know some folks wanted to speak to you about your retirement. So we'll kind of start. I have a few names that are down on my list. There's quite a few names, but did our property appraiser make it back yet?
He had mentioned he had a grandson had a Thanksgiving luncheon or something.
Yeah, he said he was going to try to get back.
He might be in a good grandpa right now.
All right, well, let's start. Mr. Paladin, by all means.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, commissioners. Commissioner O'Brien, it's been a great 16 years. I think you've been a great commissioner. You've always done your homework. And there's very few times I've seen you on the bottom side of a 4-to-1 vote. That tells me your fellow commissioners also support your thought process. But I have a great deal of respect for you and the way you've conducted your service for the last 16 years. And I'll give you a little story. The first time I met Commissioner O'Brien was when he was running for commissioner the first time, 16 years ago. He was running against Tom Lawler. I was supporting Tom Lawler. So they had a debate coming up. And at the debate, Tom had to go up to Tallahassee with Joe Baird. So he appointed me to sit in for him to debate Commissioner O'Brien. And I walked into the room, and they informed Commissioner O'Brien that I'd be debating him. And he says, no, that's not going to work. He says, this isn't going to work at all. He says, I got to debate the incumbent, plus I got to debate the sixth commissioner. He says, no, he says, this isn't going to work. I says, Commissioner O'Brien, it'll be fine. So we had a debate. I'd like to think I won the debate, because I always think I win. But in reality, I think we call it a draw. And a draw of Commissioner O'Brien is a victory as far as I'm concerned. Commissioner, you've been a great commissioner, always done your homework. I have the utmost respect for you. And I told him at that time that from that point on, if he won the election, I'd always support him. And I always have. And I'll always support you in the future, Commissioner. If you ever need my support in anything you do, I'm one phone call away and I'm here for you. God bless you and your family, and I love you.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, next. Penny Chandler, your name's on the list.
Well, Peter, I think I can say we got off to a rocky start when you were elected, but we soon became good working partners. and work together on any number of economic development issues, business issues. You've done a great job. We appreciate it. Thanks for serving our county.
Thank you, Penny.
Well, with that being said, it wouldn't be amiss if I didn't have Helene come up and speak.
Hello. Can I just say ditto and sit down to what Penny said? Now, you've been so supportive of what we've done over the years, and I really appreciate it. And coming with me on those visits, those business retention visits, was tremendous. The business owners really appreciated it. And, you know, we have worked with some really great companies over the years, and then some that were interesting. We'll just leave it at that. So, yeah, I'm trying to be very polite. So thank you for everything that you've done to help us in economic development and at the Indian River Chamber. And enjoy those grandkids. You and Susan, go travel, have fun.
Yeah, we plan to.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. If I may, just Penny was the director of the chamber, and when I was awarded the Carolyn Eckert Economic Development Award, and that's probably one of the highest honors I've ever received. So Penny and Helene, thank you very much for that.
All right, with that, Tom Lanahan. Tom is the Executive Director of the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, who does great things for our area and for all the member counties that are a member of that. And he and you, Mr. Chairman, y'all go back since Tom came to it.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, thank you. Good morning. Tom Lanahan, Executive Director at the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. Commissioner Peter O'Brien has always been there when we needed him, and I'm here to thank him for his service. He was there as chairman of the RPC in 2014. He was there as a resource to educate other council members, who will remain nameless, about biosolids, nutrient uptake, and the effects of over-application of fertilizers on our environment. He was there as a member of Governor DeSantis' first transition team. He was there as a speaker at the Florida Senate, actually a dingy meeting room in the bowels of the Leon County Convention Center, defending RPCs in the statutes. He was there as president of the Florida Regional Councils Association, and he was there at our meetings with excellent attendance every month, except his last one, which he skipped. So I got to come here to share all these wonderful things that he's done out in the world for his community here at home. And a living embodiment that planning is a conservative value, and being careful with our resources is a conservative value. We have a small token of our appreciation, something for the travel mobile as you go out and visit across the country, and a little something to help you find your way home when you're ready to get back to work. So here's how I'll run this up to you, I guess.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Next, we're going to call up our former county councilor and now NBC golf analyst and guy off camera that tells you what what club the pro is using. Back to the booth, and Mr. Alan Polakowicz.
Good morning. First of all, I was amazed with that resolution that you just passed, the Peter O'Brien rule. I was here when the first roots of that O'Brien rule started to form, and apparently has grown to this resolution today. And I literally have a vision in my mind of sitting where Dylan is, looking down the line at Commissioner O'Brien, Peter, so frustrated at the eminent domain issue we were dealing with that day. It was true. I mean, when the county took property, and if there was a dispute, if the landowner would not accept the appraisal, the path you then headed down was terrible. You know, you'd end up with attorney's fees, witness fees, experts on both sides, engineers. And in the end, you looked at the amount that you were paying compared to what that appraisal was, and it just wasn't a winning proposition to get down that line. And I remember sitting there and watching Peter one day, and Peter, just the frustration boiled out, And he said, you know, we've got to do this because if we don't, we're going to pay more money. And therefore, in fact, the commission voted to accept it that day to pay much more money than was really reasonable given the appraisal, but was less than you were going to pay in the long run if you didn't pay the money. So it was interesting today coming in and watching the Peter O'Brien rule be codified. I had no idea. In any event, I was meeting with Commissioner Fleischer a couple weeks ago. He said, Peter's last meeting is November 15. I said, well, gee, I got to get down and welcome the guy into the world of the retired because it's such a great place. So, Peter, come on. I encourage you to enjoy that retirement. I told Peter when I came in this morning that I found in retirement that I finally found something I'm good at, which is retirement. But Peter can't say that because he found something he was good at, which is being a county commissioner. Peter and I have a relationship that goes back to 2004. I took a position with Riverside National Bank. My primary office was here in Vero Beach, second floor of the building on Route 60. And when I got up there, Peter was up there, and that's how I met Peter. We spent a number of years together. And I remember, well, number one, I started forming some opinions. I said, number one, this guy's pretty sharp. Number two, he's pretty interesting. I enjoyed his fishing stories and lobstering stories. They were all kind of fun. And number three, he seems like a good guy. So one day, Peter comes into my office and he says, Alan, I'm thinking of running for county commissioner. You know, what do you think? Is the bank okay with that? And the bank was okay with that. But I recommended to Peter that he wait until the next election cycle to kind of cultivate some recognition within the county. Now, Peter demonstrated how smart he was by not following my recommendation at all. So, and then he won. So I knew at that time that, you know, Peter was on a good path. Now, as Riverside ran into its problems and the FDIC advised us that it was going to close the bank in 60 to 90 days, and then the county attorney position opened up, and that wasn't going to be filled for another period of time after what the FDIC had told us. So I said, well, gee, I'd be interested in that position. It sounded like something I would enjoy. So suddenly I was in the position of coming to Peter and other commissioners and saying, will you, I'd like to be county attorney. Will you people support me? And at that point, I'd like to say Peter showed his intelligence a second time by actually voting for me. But then, you know, I sat up where Dylan sat, and I watched for several years how the commission functioned and how Peter functioned. And I felt like I had a pretty good perspective on commissioners. I had dealt with commissioners for years. I've actually had this bizarre distinction of being appointed to a county, being appointed by the county commission to a position on a board, a coalition, a commission, and as county attorney for 37 consecutive years, which was kind of weird. But in that 37 years, I obviously observed and dealt with a lot of county commissioners. And I told Peter while I was county attorney, and it was only partially brown-nosing, that I thought he was doing a great job as a county commissioner, and I think he has. He always just had one guiding light, and that light was simply, is this good for the residents and good for the county? Good for the residents of Indian River County and for the county. That was the guiding light. If the answer was yes, he was in favor of it. If the answer was no, then he was not in favor of it. And I think it was that simple, and I think it was, because it was that simple, it made him such a good county commissioner. So Peter, welcome to the other side. If you need any recommendations or guidance on how to be a good retiree, I'm there for you.
I
Good luck.
appreciate that, Alan. Thank you. I do want to go with you on one of your kayak trips where you're taking all the pictures. Those look like a lot of fun.
The bird pictures?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, well, I definitely enjoy that. You get a camera, we'll go out.
Okay, sounds
Very
good. Thanks, Alan.
Next, the city manager of the city of Fellsmere, Mark Mathis, would like to say a few words.
On behalf of the city of Fellsmere, I want to thank Peter for all his time. Mayor Tyson would have loved to have been here to share his words as well, but he had a prior commitment. I've had a chance to work with you now for a few years, and I've also found you to be quite competent, quite knowledgeable, great experience, but also your creativity. You're thinking out of the box. Although we didn't land them, we really tried hard with regards to the fellows of Marion and Indian River College, and so I appreciate you and your caring for the entire county, all the municipalities and everyone else. And I hope we can find a way to work together more in the future. I know you're probably not leaving the area, so we'll keep tabs. So
That's good, Mark. Appreciate it. Thank you.
With that being said, Mr. Davis, get ready for this, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I tell you what. Well, first of all, just I took Commissioner O'Brien turkey hunting once, and thank God he's a better commissioner than a turkey hunter. Yeah, we didn't get anything that day, and I hadn't invited him back, and I don't even go fishing with him anymore. So, no, Commissioner, I just want to say, and I'm glad I made it for this. I had something with my grandson wrapped up. You know, the one thing that I've always appreciated about you is you having your positions and never wavering from your opinions on those. So much when an item comes up as a commissioner, I knew where you was going to be, on the wrong side. and so on those times, you know, well, there were times we agreed also a lot, and I appreciated your integrity, your conviction, and your honesty, because whenever it was over and you were on the wrong side, you'd come back 3 weeks later and say, you know what, I was on the wrong side. I want to apologize to you for that. And I'd always take you and say, that's all right, little cricket, you got another foot. You can put it in your mouth at the next meeting. And so I always appreciated that about you. But the one thing that I really think that is the highlight of it all, and where I see this happening, is, you know, these great commissioners, they get things in the county named after them. Fran Adams Park, Dick Bird, Amelie Loy, the bridge. So I'm confident. I just want to let you know that that's never going to happen for you. So, so I just wanted to you know, give these final parting remarks, to be a part of this, and to just say once again how much truly it is. It was an honor to work with you as a commissioner, to spend time with you as a friend, and it's going to be an honor to see you out there on the other side. Not very many elected officials can leave under their own terms, but the good ones can, and you're one of the good ones.
Thank you, Wesley. If I may, Mr. Vice Chair, the turkey story needs a little bit more explaining.
You didn't have bullets?
When I first ran, at the time, Wesley was a sitting county commissioner. I'm pretty sure he was supporting the incumbent, trying to keep peace on the dais there. So, and that election was fairly contentious. There was a lot going on. But very shortly after the election I had won, Commissioner Davis invited me to go out turkey hunting with his brother Brian. And I'm thinking, you know, this doesn't really sound good. I don't think he really supported me. Now he wants to take me out in the woods somewhere with shotguns. And this was very shortly after the vice president of the United States had just shot somebody in the rear end in a hunting accident. And I'm thinking, yeah, 3 of us are going to walk into those woods, but there are only 2 of us coming back. And I didn't think it was going to be me. So, so fortunately, we did have a good time. And actually, Brian did bag a turkey. But it was a good time. Wesley and his brother, a lot of fun. But then shortly after that, another thing came up that made me kind of a little worried. The county fair was going on, the 4-H, and Wesley always did the auction of the animals and stuff. And so we were there one night, and Wesley goes, Pete, come here, let me show you something. He waves me over, and we go into the rope, and we come up to a cow. And he goes, now, Pete, this is what you got to look for. If, you know, feel the ribs here. See, you don't want to feel the ribs. You want all that fat filled in, because that's the good meat. And I said, okay, I got that. Well, then Wesley starts kind of doing this. He goes, no, Pete, come here. Put your hand down here. And I go, oh, my God. He's going to get me arrested for animal molestation or something. But he had to show me where to grab on the flank. I think it's the flank steak down there or something, right? But I have to tell you, those first early years when Gary Wheeler was on the board and Wesley, those 2 were clowns. I'm telling you, one of them would be talking or doing something, and the other one would be dialing his cell phone number to make it ring while he was talking. And they would reach over and grab the little chair lever so the chair would drop down. And so you never knew what was going on with Wesley and Gary, but it was a lot of fun. And actually, Wesley, I learned a lot from you. The most important thing is that when you want to say something, you always kind of hemmed and hawed for a couple of seconds until the camera got on you, and then you started talking. So I always learned that from you, to make sure you got full coverage when you want to say something. But Wesley, it was a lot of fun. I reciprocate all the things you said about me. It was a lot of fun serving with you, and it's been good working with you as a property appraiser. So thanks for all the good times, the good memories, and we'll have to get together, maybe do another turkey shoot one day or something.
Sounds good. I know you're leaving office, not leaving town, so
Yep.
we'll
Okay.
get together.
Great. Thanks, Wesley. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks. Madam Supervisor, did you want to say a few things?
Wanted to say how much I've enjoyed working with you, and I remember when you were on the canvassing board, and my husband goes, boy, he's really good with numbers. You could really use him. And I said, yeah, that's a good thing to know when you're helping with elections. So it's been so much fun working with you and your boys growing up kind of with my kids. So it's been wonderful, and I wish you the best of luck in retirement.
Thank you, Leslie.
Mr. Smith.
I'd like to repeat what the 6th Commissioner Paladin just said about you doing your homework. I think that's one of the largest things that you can take away is that you were one of the commissioners that always were prepared for everything that that was going to be discussed that day. You could tell that you've done your homework. And every quarter, I don't know if everybody knows, but every quarter I put on the agenda the tourist tax results from the previous 3 months and compare it with the previous year. And every quarter, Peter always pulls it off the consent for transparency. And then also annually I do a review of the popular annual financial report, and he takes a box or two, which is 100 or 200 of them, and takes them out there and gives them out when he has his citizens meetings. So our staff got together and we decided that we were going to declare you the Tourist Tax and PAFR Commissioner of the Decade. And so we're presenting it to you on behalf of the clerk's office.
See, Wesley, I did get something named after me there.
Sure enough. It's official, sir.
It is official.
All right. Is there anybody else out there that wants to say anything? Fred?
Michael King.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Peter, it has been a pleasure watching you. I come to these meetings quite frequently since I've been elected, and I want to thank you for your service to this community, not just to Indian River County, but everybody in Indian River County. Thank you so much for what you do. And I also want to thank you for your advocacy in Tallahassee. I've seen you up there before on myself doing advocacy work on behalf of the cities. But thank you for so much that you do, you have done in Tallahassee, here locally. All I can say is thank you. So it's a pleasure. It has been a pleasure watching you up here on this dais. Thank you so much for your service.
Great. Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it.
Commissioner-elect Lohr, anything from you?
Well, good morning, Commissioners and Chair. Congratulations. I go back 14 years with you in my first role, and for those of you that don't know, most constitutionals will meet individually with the commissioners to go over their budget. And the year was March of 2009, of course, when the market crashed, and then I would meet with the commissioners in early May before the budget was submitted. And you mentioned Gary and the others, but I tell you, when I went to meet with Peter, I always knew, as others have said, that he's a numbers guy. And I could always, took me a while, 3 or 4 year cycles, So realized that Peter would always meet in the middle, and he would compromise. He would never give me everything that I wanted, but he was smart enough to meet in the middle because he knew the numbers. And for that, I say thank you. Good luck to you. And personally, thank you for retiring. But I have big shoes to fill. Thank you. And good luck, Susan.
No, Daryl, it's always a key thing to make it look like you're leading the parade instead of being running out of town. So,
Mr. Kent.
I've got help here. And imagine, if you would, the Three Amigos is, the redhead is missing. Meredith Egan is actually emceeing an event, National Philanthropy Day, where she'd be here as well, and she sends her appreciation for your work and her love. About 4 years ago, no, I won't start there. You've been a great commissioner for all of the people for 16 years, and as a citizen, I appreciate that. You've been also tremendously supportive of many nonprofits in the community, and from my work at United Way for a quarter of a century, we appreciate that. But about 4 years ago, the Three Amigos here, and Jeff was along sometimes as well, we spent a lot of time meeting with all of you, just trying to do better for the kids is the bottom line. It was an exploratory group at first, sort of evolved into an effort called the Children's Trust, and when that didn't fly, we did some good work, I think, I'm convinced, in making some changes to CSAC, and we're still supporting and active, and we'll do everything we can to continue to improve that and make that a highlight of the county and their support. But we wanted to take the opportunity just to say thank you, particularly on behalf of the kids. You've been a great champion. Not singularly, but you certainly have been on the forefront for us, and we appreciate that very much. On behalf of us and the kids, thumbs up. Enjoy your retirement.
thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Well,
Have you got your camper yet?
I have not. It's still going to happen, but we haven't got there yet.
Okay.
I'll just note, again, obviously many of you, all of you were key in this process, but it was a long and windy road with twists and turns we didn't expect when we started, 2018, I think is when. But at every juncture when something unexpected happened, I will credit Commissioner O'Brien with helping us see the path forward, that it wasn't the end of the road and we could look at it a little bit differently and still get a great result. So thank you so much for your
Thank you,
leadership.
Lisa. Thank you.
And enjoy retirement.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I think we have some video presentations of some folks that couldn't be here.
Oh.
So, not over with.
Just get started.
Well, he's here.
He used to
Yes.
work here.
Just play in the middle.
Hit play in the middle, Kim.
Peter, thanks for all your hard work as a county commissioner for 16 years. I certainly have appreciated everything you've done as a leader for Indian River County and as an advocate for the business community. Enjoy your retirement.
Hi, Peter. Congratulations on your retirement. Enjoy.
Hey, Peter. It's been great working with you since 2006. Enjoy your retirement and tight lines.
You guys get back to work. Great work with you. Happy retirement.
Peter O'Brien, Keith Touchberry, City of Felsman. Congratulations on this well-earned retirement, and thank you for so many years of dedicated service to the citizens of Indian River County, not just as a commissioner, but as a member of so many boards and committees designed to improve the quality of life here for all of us in Indian River County. I know you must have a lot planned for yourself in your retirement, so good luck and God bless.
Congratulations, Peter, on your retirement. Well earned. I want to say I worked with Peter on the commission. I appreciated his honesty, I appreciated his integrity, and his judgment. Peter's been an excellent county commissioner and a public servant, and I know he'll be missed. So good luck in the future, Peter, with whatever you do. Best wishes.
Hey, Commissioner Bryan, Sheriff Eric Flowers, just want to say thank you so much for your partnership. You've been a great supporter and friend throughout your time on the County Commission. We're certainly going to miss you up there on the dais. We know you got a lot of great things for your future, a lot of good things to accomplish ahead of you. And we're here for you, anything you need. Have a great one, and we're really proud of you.
We're here at the Indian River County Supervisor of Elections office, and we're canvassing vote-by-mail ballots.
And we're all here today. We want to send our best wishes to Commissioner O'Brien. We know he served on the canvassing board several times, and we want to wish him the best in retirement. So everybody, congratulations!
Honoring Peter D. O'Brien on his retirement from the Board of County Commissioners. Whereas we, Madam Clerks, want to congratulate you on your retirement. And whereas we will miss your Peterisms.
Did you draw the short straw? Have you been a bad girl? That Madam Clerk?
Watch out for this one. And whereas your ability to deconstruct the agenda and create the need for clerk notes will be unsurpassed, as illustrated. We hope. And whereas we enjoyed and will miss your homegrown pineapples and limes, you know where we work. And whereas we will miss your creativity to go where no chairman has gone before and kept us entertained. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the clerk to the Board of Indian River County, Florida, that the clerks are grateful to Peter D. O'Brien for being a true student to Indian River County, who served with integrity, loyalty, commitment, and passion and pride for 16 years. Be it further proclaimed that the clerk to the Board extends their sincerest wishes for success in all your endeavors. Adopted this 15th day of November 2022, signed by all 4 clerks.
Thank you, Terry.
Happy retirement, Commissioner O'Brien. Congratulations.
Peter, it was an honor working with you in Indian River County. You always approached everything intelligently, with a lot of integrity, honesty, and common sense. You always worked for the best interest of the citizens. Thank you for your service. Enjoy retirement with Susan, and God bless. Thank you for your service.
This is Dowling Watford, Mayor for the City of Okeechobee, and I just wanted to say congratulations on your retirement. I want to thank you for the service that you've provided to the citizens of Indian River County, but also for your service to the residents of the Treasure Coast area. As chairman and as a member of the Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments, I want to thank you for all you've done for our citizens. I want to thank you for being that calm voice on the council, that one that had the common sense, and when we had controversial issues, you always had the wisdom and the ability to lead us in the right direction, and I appreciate that. On a personal level, I want to thank you for your diligence in looking at the treasurer's report. I remember one time, and I think there was a 67-cent error that you caught on that report, and you made me a better treasurer, because I made sure that I triple-checked each report from that moment on to make sure they were correct. So thank you for your service. Enjoy your retirement. Congratulations, and God bless.
Hi, Peter. I want to congratulate you on your retirement. You will be missed dearly, especially by me. It was an honor to serve as one of your first commissioner assistants for District 4. I wish you the best on your retirement. Enjoy the time with your family, and cheers.
Well, very impressive. Thank you for that. That was very good. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank your assistant for that. Maura, she came up with that, and it was her thing.
right.
She
Thank
did
you,
she
Maura.
did a great job with that. Well, the next thing we have to do, we have to call up. Well, we'll wait on that. See that photo right there?
I do see that photo right there.
We had a commission meeting, one of my first commission meetings when after I got elected, and the subject came up of how Indian River County was founded. And you gave an eloquent speech about that, sir. And I was like, I think even I said at the end of it that, were you there?
Apparently I was.
I said,
didn't
you've been
realize
on the
that.
commission a long time, and I know that you and Commissioner Fleischer started at the same time, but I think I also made the remark that, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like he's been here longer.
Longer.
So,
Like Ben Franklin.
so after extensive, I mean, we did extensive search of the county records in the clerk's office and in the library, and even called the state. I had Ed working on this just like 24/7 to find out if it was true what I thought, that maybe you were there. And you know, I was right. You were there, and you were there. It was you and G.A. Braddock and Donald Forbes and John Atkins and O.O. Helseth and Commissioner O'Brien, because the way you told that story, then I heard you tell it again, you know, about a year later at a FAC conference, we were talking to somebody, and I think you said the same story. And so after extensive research, sir, we found that you were there. And I said, you've been actually commissioner 96 years.
Well, and obviously, you know, the pictures don't lie, so obviously I was there.
It's concrete photographic evidence. It's glad. So you've served the county a long time, and your institutional knowledge is without question, and your homework, as you've heard many people say, is without question. So it all stems back from your 96 years on the board. So we really appreciate that. So the next thing I have to do, though, speaking of the board, is I have to call Judge Menz up. If she wants to say a few words, then she needs to come up here, and she has an official ceremony that you have to participate in. But if she'd like to say a few words and then come up, that would be
Yes,
fantastic.
Thank you, commissioners and chairman. I want to, on behalf of all of the judges in your courthouse and that work here in Indian River County, I want to thank you for your support of the court system. Most importantly, for your support for the alternative courts for all these years. We're not able to do our jobs without you all providing us with the ability to do that. And so I just sincerely thank you for that. So I wanted to do that first. Now I have the most important task, and I'll come up there so that everyone can hear. You were sworn in as a county commissioner 4 times, and the board got together and decided that now you needed to be sworn out. So I am here for that purpose.
I know it is you. Oh, boy.
So if you would please, raise your right hand. I, Peter O'Brien, do solemnly swear
I, Peter O'Brien, do solemnly swear
that I will make no amendments to any vacation items suggested by Susan,
that I will make no amendments to any vacation items suggested by Susan,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly qualified,
to purchase whatever I want without having to pay attention to the cost,
that I am duly qualified to purchase anything I want without attention to the cost,
that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of retirement
that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of retirement,
by not serving on any committees,
thank God, by not serving on any committees,
including my homeowners association,
including my homeowners association,
by not attending any ribbon cuttings
by not attending any ribbon cuttings
or other social events,
or other social events,
and by promising to email the remaining commissioners
and by promising to email the remaining commissioners
only to commend them for the work that they are doing
only to commend them on the work they are doing
in maintaining the legacy that I am leaving.
in maintaining the legacy I am leaving.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, Nicole. I have to admit that's the best sworn out I've ever had.
It's the first one ever.
Yeah.
They borrow your mic.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So now it's time to get to the serious part of the matter. So, Mr. Chairman, you knew according to the minutes that you were going to get one of these. So I'll let you have this one, and that's what it's my honor to give that to you. But we, as a collective body, want to read this to you. So it'll be a different way we're going to do this. So this is a proclamation honoring Peter D. O'Brien on his retirement from the Board of County Commissioners. So whereas Peter O'Brien was first elected to the Indian River County Board of County Commissioners by the citizens of Indian River County in 2006 and has served tirelessly with distinction for 16 years or 4 terms. He worked hard to establish consensus and find common ground and always enjoyed trying to help county residents find solutions to problems facing them. And whereas
Peter's background and knowledge of the natural environment was instrumental in driving policies and projects that helped protect our natural resources, particularly the health of the Indian River Lagoon, such as Osprey Marsh, Osprey Acres, Egret Marsh, septic to sewer projects in Sebastian, West Wabasso, and Roseland, and the adoption of a fertilizer ordinance. Moreover, he advocated with the state legislature for a moratorium on application of biosolids which were impacting Blue Cypress Lake, and whereas
Peter has effectively served on the Economic Development Council for many years, where he supported responsible incentives and policies such as an improved jobs grant program and a voter-approved tax abatement program, which led to the recruitment, retention, and expansion of numerous new and existing businesses that provide high-quality, higher-wage jobs for local workers, and earned him the Carolyn K. Eggert Award from the Indian River County Chamber of Commerce. And
whereas Peter has enthusiastically participated and chaired on several regional committees, such as Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, Treasure Coast Council of Local Governments, and Metropolitan Planning Organization, understanding and embracing the importance of working collaboratively with government leaders of surrounding areas. As chairman of MPO, he saw development of the first ever Greenways Plan and numerous transportation projects. And
whereas Peter has been a strong advocate for Indian River County's interests in Tallahassee, having served in numerous committee positions with the Florida Association of Counties, earning him the Presidential Advocacy Award for 3 years. His work has helped to preserve local home rule, with one notable example of preventing the loss of the county's ability to have common sense regulations on vacation rentals. His advocacy has resulted in many successes, including securing $31 million in safety improvements at Brightline Railroad crossings to protect residents. And
whereas Peter's decisions and actions were always guided by a deep sense of integrity and passion to do what was in the best interest of the citizens of Indian River County. He's advocated for responsible growth while protecting our quality of life, which led policies that were based upon a long-term perspective.
Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners, Indian River County, Florida, that the board, in recognition of his numerous contributions and distinguished service to his community, expresses its appreciation to Peter D. O'Brien and his fellow board members, wish him the very best in his future endeavors, adopted this 15th day of November, signed by myself, Commissioner Fleischer, Commissioner Moss, and Commissioner Adams.
Thank you all very much.
We're not done yet, sir.
Okay, good.
I'd like to start off allowing everybody up here to say a few words, and then we have a special gift after that. So I will start off with Mr. Administrator, Mr. Brown.
all right, thank you, Mr. Acting Chair. Well, Peter, first I have to say, I was the budget guy when you started here, and I've always appreciated your number sense and good financial sense the whole time, and I think that's led to really good things for the county. And I'm happy to see the O'Brien rule, memorialized. That makes my heart proud too. I want to say thank you for all of your support over the years and your leadership. When I moved into this position, your guidance and leadership was very helpful, and I'm forever thankful for that. Also want to thank you for your support of staff. If there's criticism for staff, it was not going to be in public, and I appreciated that. And to the point that others have said, you really always did your homework. You always used your knowledge and intelligence and made rational decisions. So that any support for staff wasn't because you were just believing what was told to you from staff. You had done your homework, and that was truly appreciated. Just want to thank you for that. And as had been said before, I think Alan had said it best with your guiding light being doing what's right for the county citizens and for the people. And I remember you saying that your one time that your rule was that whenever you took a vote, you needed to feel good to go home to Susan and tell her that you had made a decision based on what you thought was best. And that wasn't just that was something that you truly lived and breathed and did every time. So I want to mention that we appreciate that and just point that out, that was just such a great thing. I will also mention that Susan did, for those of you who don't know, was also the 6th grade math teacher to 2 brown children who could sometimes be unruly, and the parents were, really tough. So thank you for never holding that against me, those difficult children or their more difficult parents. So thank you for that. But I just want to say thank you for always just leading with integrity and making all of your decisions based on what you thought was right for the residents of Indian River County. I've long said, there's lots of elected officials all over this land. If they could all be like Peter, we'd be doing pretty well. With that, I'll stop talking and turn it over to somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before today, I just wrote down 2 words that I thought epitomized Commissioner O'Brien. The first one I think we've heard a lot about today, which was thoughtfulness. We've heard about your intelligence, your homework, your preparation, and all of that. So I don't want to echo those. But the second word that I wrote down, I think, was courage. I've heard about today about your ability to build consensus on this board, being on the right side of votes oftentimes. But I remember some times where your courage came through up on this board, where you voted for what you felt was right, not necessarily what you may have heard in the audience or what signs were being waved out, in the audience, but just what you thought was right. And in those occasions, that was true courage and true leadership. And I want to thank you for both your thoughtfulness, but also for your courage that you always showed up here on the dais. And it's just been a real pleasure to work with you, sir.
Mr. Moss.
I really appreciate that our vice chairman took the time and trouble to find that photograph of you, that you've served almost 100 years on county commission, because I've always marveled at your ability to share with us basically the history of everything. I mean, whatever matter was before us, you were able to put it within context and explain the history of it, and I always appreciated that very much, and thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership.
I guess this is my last opportunity to make some comments for you.
And I always appreciate your comments.
Well, hopefully you appreciate these. But no, when Peter told us that he was retiring or that he wasn't running again, I have probably told him about 5 times since then, which was, earlier in the summer, how I feel about him leaving, and I'm gotten to the point where I'm not mad at him. We have a great commissioner coming on board, so I'm looking forward to that. But, Peter, we started together. I don't know if you remember, we got elected together. I got elected in Fellsmere, and you here. We had worked together at the Sebastian Chamber. I remember your election. It was very interesting, to say the least. I took a different path to get to commission than you did, but we've worked very well together in all those 16 years in multiple different roles. I've always appreciated your professionalism. I know everybody said about your homework. You do your homework. You know the issues, and it's just very impressive. That kind of dedication throughout the years. And the thing about Peter, you might not always agree with him, but you always know where you stood with him, and he was always very upfront and above board when it came to that. And I really have taken that to heart and try to model that myself. You know, when I first got elected here, you gave me some really good words of wisdom for my first meeting, and I've kept that in the back of my mind and hope to pass those on to new commissioners myself. But I just want to thank you so much for your leadership. You've really been a model for me on how to be a very professional elected official. I've appreciated all your dedication. I think you've touched more lives and groups in this community than you realize through your involvement with so many different organizations. I do wish you luck in your retirement. I think you deserve it for all your hard work. I'm going to miss you. We're all going to miss you. Please don't email us except for pictures of your travels. I do want to see those. Please don't stop by except to bring us key lime pie from Susan. Or pineapples. I do love pineapple season from the plantation. But seriously, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed working with you so much. Truly going to miss you, but wish you all the luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, you always be Mr. Chairman to me. But, you know, this day is finally here. 16 years of service is, again, like I said earlier, is nothing to be, it's not an easy task anymore in this day and age, but you've exceeded yourself, and you've exceeded most expectations of anybody that knew you or didn't know you or met you later. You know, I've always followed kind of county politics, being involved like I was at the fire department. I wasn't always on the receiving end of the decisions I thought you should have made, especially when it came to contract negotiations and things like that. But as Commissioner Adams just said, we always knew where you stood, and we appreciated that. And it never varied. So I always found that very, really a good thing. And that's how I wanted to be as a commissioner. And I've sat beside you now for 2 years. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. We've agreed, we've disagreed, but I always, knew what to do and how to handle myself professionally based on watching what you did. And that's just been invaluable to me as a commissioner. And I want to tell you that without saying too much, I appreciate your leadership, your mentorship, and especially your friendship. Thank you. Mr. Fleischer.
Peter, 16 years. Seems like we just got started. We're on deck. How many times? Every time I came into a meeting, I want you to know, of course you have to size up what's happening, but I always reverted back to, I wonder what Petey's going to do. You were in every agenda. I want you to know that you were the one that I counted on to either vote on the right side or the wrong side, but you were going to bring the works to the table. You were going to bring the greater good of the community to the table for 16 years. I never imagined a time, and I can go back to our early beginnings. You remember something about charter government? We were on different sides of the fence, but I don't think there's too many people in the room that remember the charter government debate. But then we went on. We had so many different things. We've been through so many things together. INEOS Economic Development, Dodgertown, former Dodgertown. So many projects, economic development, hurricanes, downturns, growth expansion challenges, beach, so many issues. I've traveled a long time with you. And due to sunshine, we only have what we work with. Yeah, we know Susan. We know your children. We don't really know you as far as the day-to-day stuff. We hear reports, we see things about you bring in fruit to the office. But I want you to know, I'm listening to everybody, and I'm recounting, wow, what a time, what a contribution that you've given to Indian River County for 16 years. An incredible time. I'm looking back at the voting and what you brought. You know, you have the least amount of 1 to 4s in the history of Indian River County. And the only time you had a 1 to 4 was when you did it upon principle only. Principle only, no interest, I think. Well, that was a math thing. But you always built a consensus, and you were on the lion's share of the time. You were on the right side, well, my side, the right side with the populace, and you were mostly part of a 5-0 after careful research, development, guidance, talking with everybody in the community, talking with all the stakeholders, and you've drawn to that conclusion. Again, I can't imagine a time here in this commission without Peter D. O'Brien on the dais. I really want to say, well, oh wait, there was a few times which I wish you weren't in the room. But that was because you voted on the other side of the aisle, and I said that would be one less opposition, so maybe he shouldn't have been here. Susan couldn't get him to call out sick. You know, we got stuck. But other than that, I want you to know, thank you so much for all that you've done, your careful research. Here, listening to everybody, that common thread, you did your homework. And you did the greater good for the community. Thank you. And you're the one that gets emotional, not me. Okay? But you're going to be sorely missed. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. 16 years together. Maybe we'll get to know you now. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have a gift to give you.
I hope it's not another rock.
No, it's not a rock. On behalf of the board, Compass Rose in the University of Miami colors.
Very nice. You finally got it right.
That, you know, for your travel, so you go east, west, north, and south, whatever direction you want to go. And I'm honored to give you this, sir.
Well, thank you very much. That is very nice. Thank you.
Okay, and I can tell you, I must tell you one more thing before we give you another rousing round of applause, is that we're not done yet. We're going upstairs for refreshments and drinking a special presentation from staff and some other stuff. So
Okay.
That's where we're going after this.
Hope you
But other
brought a
than that,
truck.
I want to turn it back over to you, sir, when you get done with this, and it's all yours.
You want to do one of the commissioners and then us?
No, y'all come on in.
Okay.
You still have a trailer?
Have a camper trailer, yeah.
No, I meant for the truck.
No.
Got some stuff.
Oh, stuff?
I turn it back over to you, sir.
All right, thank you. Where's that box go? Let me put this- Well, those those of you that know me well will know what's coming up next. As Commissioner Fleischer mentioned, I do tend to wear my emotions on the sleeve a little bit. And I've got 7 tissues with me, so I hope that's enough to get through this. First, I just want to say I'm humbled by all the kind words and the video and the effort everybody's put into this. It's so it starts, okay?
Imagine that.
I've always felt I was just a regular guy trying to do my best. But let me first start. I want to start with thanking all the staff from the county and actually even from all the constitutional officers. You know, we can sit here and make policy, but it's the frontline people, the utility clerks in the office, the folks in the permitting department, the road and bridge folks, the utility guys, and then even like the constitutionals, you know, our sheriff's guys and the clerk people and the supervisor elections. It's all of those frontline people that make us look good up here. So I want to start by thanking all the staff. I want to thank all the department heads, both current and former. I think the department heads have one of the toughest jobs because technically, you know, the commissioners are supposed to go through the county administrator if we want to have something done or have an issue. But the reality is the department heads get contacted directly by the county commissioners, and that kind of, I understand, puts them in a tough spot because they're you know, they got kind of like almost 6 bosses at that point, the administrator and 5 commissioners. And they have to, you know, balance that act of, you know, what can I really do without further, you know, okay from the administrator. So I want to thank all the department heads. I think I've had a really good relationship with all of them. I always made sure that my commission assistants were always used please and thank you when we contacted them. And I also realized that there's always 2 stories or 2 sides to every story. So we'll get a complaint and hear one side of it, but we always try to say, okay, hey, you know, Road and Bridge, we got a call from Mrs. Jones. This is what she was complaining about, but you know, what does Road and Bridge think? What have we done, or what is the real situation? And you find a lot of times that the truth is somewhere in between, but I always try to make sure we do that without jumping on a department head and yelling and screaming. And I found that, as Susan always says, you get more with honey than a stick or whatever the saying was. And so I think we got a lot done in District 4, and I'm very appreciative to all the department heads and all the staff for making that happen. I want to thank Dylan and Alan Polakowicz, mainly for keeping me in the sunshine and out of jail. That's probably one of the more important things the county attorney can do. And I've always appreciated the advice the county attorneys give us. I have to admit sometimes we don't always take that good advice, but I do appreciate them weighing in, giving the good advice, and keeping us on the straight and narrow, particularly with the sunshine issues. I've worked with 2 county administrators, Joe Baird and Jason, and I want to thank both of them because they always were the ones that kind of fell on the sword when something went wrong or there's the county messed something up. The county administrators always were the ones that said, hey, that was my fault. You know, we screwed up. We'll take care of it. And so I really appreciated the fact that they were willing to fall on that sword to keep the commission looking good. And particularly with Jason, it's been an honor and a pleasure working with you. I feel like we're kind of riding off into the sunset together. So couldn't think of anybody better to do that with than you. Had a handful of administrative assistants, but the 3 that really stand out are Terry Collins, Lister, Tina Knoyer sitting back there, and my current assistant, Morris Stokes. They're all rock stars. You know, they're the ones that take that call when it first comes in, and that constituent, by the time they call our office, they've been through staff, they're frustrated, they're hot, they're angry, And those ladies have done a great job of talking those constituents off the bridge. So by the time I get to them, they're calmed down, they've been able to vent, and then we can kind of work on solving their problem. And so I want to thank all of them for being that gatekeeper to keep things moving forward. I guess it's a sign of honor. I mentioned earlier Jeff Smith had stole Terry from me. Jason stole Tina from me. So I don't know where more is going to end up, but someone's going to come steal her, I guess. So, but I think that's all good. I know that they've it helps their career, and I've always encouraged them to take those opportunities when they come up. Served with a lot of great commissioners. Gary Wheeler was on the video. Commissioner Davis was here. Commissioner Solari, and then the current board. I can't tell you, I mentioned a few of the things Wesley did, and we actually kind of bonded as commissioners, and I don't want Dylan to freak out, but back when Gary was here, and Wesley and Commissioner Flesher and myself, a lot of times we would meet usually in Gary's office. Gary kind of held court in his office, and we would meet Tuesdays before the meeting. And Gary always liked to talk about politics, national politics, state politics. So we would be all chatting about that. We'd be talking about football. And Dylan, we never talked about the agenda, so just we were good there. But we all kind of shared our thoughts, shared our things, and we kind of started becoming more and more friends. And then Commissioner Slurry became part of that group. And we talked about football, not with Commissioner Slurry, obviously, but
More philosophical.
yeah, it's more philosophical. But then as we got close to meeting time, again, usually Gary, but sometimes if there's another chair at that time, they would set a time for the meeting and be, 10:30, 11:30, 1. And that became the over-under number. So then we would all wager on whether the meeting was going to be over or under that time limit. And we would bet coffees and Danish and pastries and such. And so once a month we would kind of meet to fess up or pay up. And again, at those meetings, we talked politics, we talked other things, but it helped the bonding. It helped us create a friendship with each other that I think carried over into our performance up here on the dais. And when you have a personal relationship with someone, you can't really, I mean, you're civil with that person because you like them, you may disagree with them, but it's a more respectful thing, and that you're not accusing people of being names. And what we see in the world now, a lot of the finger pointing and the anger and stuff, it's just really hard to do that when you have a personal relationship. And Commissioner Flesher referenced it, but myself, Commissioner Flesher, and Commissioner Davis, all our kids were kind of going through college all at the same time, so we got to share those experiences, talk about the colleges they were going to, the problems with that. Hey, they're going away. How do we handle this? Things like that. And then Jackie Solari had cancer, so we were there with Bob as he and Jackie went through the treatments and flights to New York. And just when you do those kind of things, you just bond better. And I think that made us all better commissioners, and I think that was to the betterment of the community to have a board getting along. We go to these conferences and talk to other commissioners, and they talk about the fact that they had to pass a civility ordinance to keep themselves properly policed on the dais. And I just, I realize that goes on a lot, and I was always very thankful that for our board, we were very fortunate. We never had to have a civility policy because we knew each other well. We respected each other. We got our work done, but we did it with, professionalism, civility, and sometimes, some fun. We had to throw a little fun in there once in a while. And not that it's any great secret, but the advice I gave to Commissioner Adams on her first day, we were upstairs in the offices before the meeting, and she said, "Okay, well, Pete, is there a secret handshake I need to know about, or what do I do, to be okay here?" And I said, "Susan, as long as you can give it back as how you're taking it, you'll be fine." And she said, "Oh, I can do that." And then so she's done it. So, but that's how we are. You know, we give each other a hard time, but it's out of respect. And it's really, the thing is, you know, you should be worried if we're not giving you a hard time. That's the time to worry and all that. I did want to thank the voters of Indian River County. They elected me twice. And I hope they were happy with the job I was doing, because the next 2 times I was unopposed. So I appreciate that. I want to thank some of my supporters, in particularly Etal and Bonnie Verone. Etal has been rock solid for me. He can't be here. He's 91 and having a little bit of health issues. But from the very day he met me, he had my back 110%. He believed in me. He was always supportive, and I just haven't found anybody like that, that really, really, truly believed in me as a person and what I could do. So I want to really just recognize Etal and Bonnie. We had a lot of friends before politics, and unfortunately, because of politics, we've lost a few of them. Sometimes people, if they disagree with my position, they just couldn't put it aside, and so we did lose some friends. But the vast majority of them, whether they agreed with me or not, they remain friends, and that's deeply important to me. And I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of great people in our community, sitting here for 16 years. And I can tell you, Indian River County really is a very special place to live, to work, to be in, because we have a lot of great people here. And so I can't thank you all, but just so you all know that anybody I've met, anybody I've interacted with, I greatly appreciate you, and I think we have some really fantastic people here. Finally, my wife, Susan, she's always had my back. She was very good at slapping me around and keeping my head in check anytime it got too big. And she was always there to support me, even if she didn't agree with my vote. She did believe in me, and she believed I was doing what I believed to be the right thing. And those of us sitting up here know that being involved in this life, that it's always harder on the spouse, particularly now with social media and all the negativity, that, you know, we all develop pretty thick skin up here. We let a lot of those kind of things bounce off our back and don't take them personal. But that spouse who's there says, you know, wait a minute, this is the person I love, and these people are saying really nasty things about him or her. And it's really hard on the spouses or significant others. And just, I want to thank Susan for her support for the 16 years, and always being there for me through everything. We've had a long-running debate over whether I'm an elected officer or a politician. And Susan has argued that I should be proud to be a good politician, because she says that it show people that politicians can do a good job and be held in high esteem. And so I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but I know what to do with my wife. So I'm proud to say that I think I've done a good job as a politician. So thank you for that, Susan. And that's all I have. So, right. A couple left, not bad.
You did good.
Yeah, I know.
Chairman, it's all up to you to take care of and do what we do at the end of every meeting. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and like I said, please, we're going to reconvene upstairs right after this.
Okay.
So it's all
Mr.
yours.
Chairman,
Commissioner Fleischer.
before you end, I want you to look around the room Is this the fullest? You know, I like to keep records of who had the shortest meeting, who had the longest meeting. We do the over and under. Is this the fullest you've seen a meeting that has gone at least 3 hours?
Absolutely.
That's because of the job that you've done. Absolutely. And people are going to miss you being up here, so they wanted to be here. So that's an accolade to you. This is the fullest. Usually there's 1 or 2 staff members left by this time.
You sure they're just not sticking around for the food and stuff?
I don't know. We'll take that vote later.
So thank you all for staying, and please go on upstairs. Apparently there's food and refreshments. And for the last time in my career, I'll just say we are adjourned.